Hi guys, how are you? We are going to be getting right into day 14 of the YSL trial. I believe that was January 4th. We are going to finish up with the direct examination of Trontavious Stephens, aka YSL Slug, aka Tick. Whatever you want to call him, that is fine by me. This was a half day and there was a break and there's another break, so we'll get through this pretty quickly. There's a bit more direct on day 15, and then we will get to cross with Brian Steele. Look at you guys in here early. Hey to everybody in here hanging out. Hope everyone is having a great Labor Day. I got some work done. I was laboring. And then JT says, yesterday, I think it was Ike. Ike had made a comment about using a certain Colgate toothpaste, and if it's 3 people or more, now that's some type of gang conspiracy, according to Adrian Love. But now, according to JT, in Young Thug's song, Daddy's Birthday, he mentions Colgate several times. Perhaps the conspiracy goes farther than we know. Very funny. And then let's see. There we go. Hey to everybody. I think we are good to get started. I have all the videos lined up. And again, this is going to be day 14. Half day, nothing surprising. And we'll get through it pretty quickly. I have it on 1.25 speed. You guys can call the shot. So here we go.
And then we're going to go till about noon. That's going to be our hard stop. And then I'll give you some more instructions on what our plans are at that point in time, okay? All right, so Ms. Love, you can continue with the examination of Mr. Stephens. Mr. Stephens, let me remind you, you're still under oath from yesterday? You're still under oath from yesterday?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right.
Good morning, Mr. Stephens.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm kind of tired. I went straight to work from here yesterday, and then I got off at like 6, so I'm kind of tired.
All right. Well, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're safe. Now, you haven't had a chance to talk to anyone about your testimony and the court instructor. Is that right?
Right, correct.
And has anyone from our office reached out to you to do that?
No,
So do you remember when we stopped yesterday, we were talking about your ability to go from one place to another without getting permission to do so
Yes.
from the person you had to report to?
yes,
Who did you have to report to? What was the name of that person? Do you remember?
no,
And do you remember how it was that you were supposed to report?
no,
Do you remember how often you were supposed to report?
no.
So when you said yesterday, when you talked about getting permission to travel out of state because you were on, what was it that you were on?
I was on an ankle monitor.
And that ankle monitor, was that the result? What was that the result of?
Are you asking me the reason I had ankle monitor on?
I'm asking you, why did you have to wear an ankle monitor?
Because I had a case pending.
You had a case pending,
Yes, I was here.
and that was in 2015, correct?
Yes.
All right. So your pending case, what kind of case was that?
It was a like a what kind of case was it? So I know my charge was material witness.
Okay. So did you have a criminal case pending at that time?
I was arrested. Yes, I was arrested. So
And did you have a criminal case pending at that time with anyone in this courtroom?
no, I don't know. I don't remember.
Do you recall having a criminal case with Shannon Stillwell?
Yes,
When was that?
around 2015.
So was that the pending case that you were wearing an ankle monitor for?
No,
Okay. There was a different one in 2015?
Yes.
All right. And when you got the pending case with Shannon Stillwell, did you and Shannon have in the car with you a stolen gun?
yes,
And was that around July 15th of 2015?
yes,
So the case with Shannon Stillwell with the stolen gun occurred after you all had gone to the compound when Lil Wayne was present. Is that right? When was your birthday?
yeah, April, yes, that's right.
Now, when you say that you couldn't travel outside or you couldn't do certain things because of your ankle monitor, what type of things could you not do because of your ankle monitor?
I'll stand objection.
Where were you not allowed to go because of your ankle monitor?
So, I don't remember exact conditions of my ankle monitor, but I do know that I can leave the state.
Did you ask to leave the state?
No.
Did you know whether with permission you could be given permission to leave the state?
So it was clear upon getting the house arrest monitor that I would not be, I just remember this part, that I would not be permitted to travel until the case was over.
You called it just now a house arrest monitor. Would you explain what you meant by that?
So it's a monitor that monitors you.
Why did you call it a house arrest monitor? Were you under house arrest?
I don't know if I was up on a house arrest. No, I couldn't have been up on a house arrest.
And you say that why?
Because I don't recall no one telling me that I had to stay in the house.
And so when you said house arrest monitor a minute ago, you don't know why you said that?
No, it's just a term.
So yesterday when you were talking about the amount of money that you had to pay to get into the compound,
Yes.
where did you get that money from?
By then, my birthday, I was receiving gifts in forms of cash from family members, friends, loved ones.
And when you and your YSL friends were going to the compound, did you all communicate with one another?
When we was going to the compound?
Yes.
Yes.
How did you all communicate with one another?
By mouth? Is that what you asked?
Were there members of YSL in the car with you?
Yes.
Who was in the car with you?
Shannon Jackson and I think D.
Tell me who D was. Tell the jury who D was.
You want me to tell your name? Like, I know D.
I do.
I know D.
Do you know his name?
I don't want to like get it mistaken or nothing. I'm
Tell
gonna
the
get
jury, to the best of your recollection, who D is.
his name is Demikian.
Demetrius Darlington?
Yes.
Was he also known as 30 D?
Yes, I guess so.
I'm sorry?
Yes.
Now, did you know at the time who 30 D was?
Did I know who 30 Deep was?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I heard.
And who was 30 D or what was 30 D?
It was a neighborhood and
That's your say?
Your Honor.
I'm over with objection.
Thank you. You may answer.
a neighborhood in the Southside community.
30 D was a neighborhood?
It was, yes.
It was a neighborhood, okay. Was it also a gang?
I don't know. They went by being a gang.
What neighborhood was 30 D?
Mechanicsville.
And is it your testimony that when you say a neighborhood, what are you talking about?
Area in Atlanta.
So 30 D was called when you wanted to go a certain place. You would say, let's go to 30 D?
No.
So
It was a long
how is it
pause.
a neighborhood? How are you calling it a neighborhood?
Objection, Your Honor, foundation. I'll sustain the objection, you may will lay on more foundation, okay?
If you call 30 D a neighborhood, do you mean that it's a place?
Yes.
So based on that, if you wanted to go to the place where 30 D was, would you then say, let's go to 30 D?
I don't know how people will say that they'll go. Me? I wouldn't say that.
Why not?
I don't know. That's not like no.
These are such
No,
long
that's not the
pauses.
terminology I would use. I knew the area. Zone 3. I'd probably say, let's go to a different part of Zone 3.
So then, when you said that 30 D is a place, a neighborhood, and it's not something you ever refer to as that place, where are you getting from that it's a neighborhood or a place?
Because that's where it was known out of the area.
They. Who is the they that you're
The
referring to?
30 deep that you the 30 deep.
So 30 D is a group of people.
Yeah.
Is it gang?
I don't know.
Okay. But Demetrius Darlington was 30 D.
Yes.
Was
Sustain.
Demetrius Darlington 30 D?
That was his Instagram handle. Yes.
How often would you say that you associated with Demetrius Darlington?
Rarely.
How often?
Rarely, I'm sorry.
How often did you associate with Jeffrey Williams?
Often, a lot,
Did you also associate with Walter Murphy?
often,
How often did you associate with Shannon Stillwell?
often.
Now, when you were speaking about on the way to the compound, you talked with YSL members. What did you all talk about in the car?
I never said we had a car conversation.
What did you talk about on the way to the compound?
That we was going to continue club hopping until all the clubs gone. Till all the clubs closed. It's my birthday, we celebrate.
What time did you all set out to celebrate?
There wasn't no initial celebration time. The whole day was a celebration.
Were you all at clubs the whole day?
Yes.
What clubs had you gone to before the compound?
I think Magic City.
And did you go directly to the compound from Magic City?
We went to a lot of different clubs. That was like 10 years ago. I can't recall the exact movements, but I know we went to a lot of different clubs.
Did you go to the studio? Any studio before the compound?
No,
Did you go to the studio after the compound?
I don't recall. I don't know. I think I was trying to get home to my girl at the club. I don't recall.
Did you talk with anyone in particular on the way to the compound?
I don't recall.
While you were in the car with Dee and Shannon, and incidentally you said Shannon Jackson. Is Shannon Jackson in the courtroom today?
Yes.
Would you please tell the jury where he is?
In the far back with brown and the glasses on.
Is he seated next to a gentleman with white hair and a gentleman with no hair?
Yes.
Your Honor, if the record would reflect that the witness has identified Shannon Stillwell.
Yes, y'all.
Thank you. Okay. So how long were you in the car with Shannon and Dee on the way to the compound?
However long it took to get from one club to the next one.
Okay, so did you give the jury an estimate?
Roughly 20, 30 minutes. I don't know.
Whose car were you all in?
It was a rental car. My rental car.
A rental car?
Yeah.
Who's driving?
I was.
Who rented it?
I did.
Where'd you rent it from?
Not from an initial rental company. It was from like an owner of the vehicle.
Okay. What kind of car was it?
Okay, so this is actually a great question that I see people ask. So FFS, when you try to reply to somebody, even if you at their name, you will not see that bolded or highlighted in, for me, it comes up like highlighted in an orange color. It will only be highlighted to the person you're tagging. So if you're trying to reply to someone, and you don't actually need the @ symbol, you can do it if you put their full name, including any emojis they might use, and it will still tag somebody. Because when my name was just Kat, before I added the not Williams, anytime somebody was talking about Kat Williams, the cat would be highlighted for me with no @ symbol. So you don't need to actually use an @ that just helps you type on a PC to tag someone. But you won't see the bold unless it's someone tagging your name. But thank you for the super chat, and that's probably a good question. Other people have that same curiosity at times. And thank you, Jen, for being a member for a month. Super nice message. Love your channel. Thank you so much. Buffering love. I did add a Waluigi emoji. Emoji. Come on, really?
Ms. Love, you can continue with the examination, Mr. Stephens. Mr. Stephens, let me remind you, you're still on the road from yesterday?
I did.
Where'd you rent it from?
Not from an initial rental company. It was from like an owner of the vehicle.
Okay. What kind of car was it?
It was a Mercedes-Benz.
During the 20 or 30 minutes that you were in the car with Shannon and Dee on the way to the compound, what did you all talk about?
Objection, Your Honor. That's the answer.
I'll overrule the objection.
You may.
I don't recall too much talking. I ain't gonna lie, I was smoking weed and drinking liquor. It was my birthday, I was celebrating.
Was everybody in the car smoking weed and drinking liquor?
I was.
And you were the driver?
Yes.
So how did smoking weed and drinking liquor, how does that affect your ability to remember today what happened that night?
How did smoking weed and drinking liquor affect?
But the better question is, you said you were smoking weed and drinking liquor. Does that have any kind of significance in your testimony today while I'm asking you a question?
So, from my understanding, your initial question was, did you guys have conversations? Or were you talking to each other on the way? And my response was that basically I was vibing, listening to music, smoking weed, and drinking liquor. So I don't recall any, like, exact conversations.
Not exact. Do you recall any parts of what you all were talking about?
I don't recall.
So did the smoking weed and drinking liquor, is that what impaired your ability to recall today?
Objection, Your Honor. This is 8 years ago.
Your Honor, object.
Member of Cousins, speaking, okay? What's the basis for relevance? What is it? Okay, all right. Okay, I'm gonna sustain the objection.
Your Honor, with the court's indulgence, I have a follow-up question that relates to that prior question that I was
Let's get
creating.
to it.
So if the smoking weed and drinking liquor kept you from remembering today certain things, how is it that you were able to recall the length of time that you were inside the compound yesterday?
I never said that smoking weed or drinking liquor had me forget what I was saying. I said I recall smoking weed, drinking liquor, and vibing out to the music. That's what was my answer.
So now my question is, did smoking weed and drinking liquor affect your ability to remember things from that night?
The length of years ago that this particular thing we're talking about is the reason.
I'm asking about the smoking weed and drinking liquor.
No.
So how is it that you remembered the 30 minutes you were in the compound?
Because I'm very familiar with the Atlanta area. I grew up here, I'm born here, and I know how much time it takes to get from one place to another.
Well, yesterday I talked about how long you said you were inside the compound. Do you remember how long you told the jury you were inside the compound?
Yes.
And how long was that?
When I say about 30 to a half hour, yeah. Something.
So how do you remember that you were inside the compound for about 30 minutes?
No, I'm gonna overrule, that was Mr. Steele. I'm overruling the objection, sir.
I remember that by being upset about the amount of money that I paid to get in and the length of time that I spent being in the party.
And you said you spent $500 to get in?
Sustained.
Do you remember how much money you told the jury that you spent to get in yesterday?
Yes.
I sustain the objection.
So was that all of your birthday money?
Overruled.
I don't remember how much money I had on me.
Was that also because of the time to spend?
Yes.
Do you consider $500 a lot of money or not a lot?
Overruled.
$500 is a lump sum of money.
That's a lot.
You can pay a bill with $500.
I agree, but you consider it a lot of money.
Anything you can pay a bill with, that's a lot of money.
Okay. So, did you plan to spend that lot of money that night on the compound?
Overruled. Remember what I told you, one at a time.
Do you understand how badly she wants to bring up money as some type of sign of gang activity, that she is about to go down a rabbit hole for $500? And I'm not saying that coming across $500 isn't cool, right? You get excited when you find a $20 bill. But they've got this man sitting here. He's tired today. He was tired yesterday. And Love is just dragging out these questions, going on and on and on and on and on about bill money, what amounts to bill money. And it's ridiculous because the RICO statute in Georgia, it's not like the federal statute. There's no requirement for pecuniary interest to be proven. But she's just going to go on and on and on. And getting us through this ridiculousness, we have 5 gifted memberships from Satchel. Thank you so much. Super sweet of you. Everyone say thank you in the chat. And there is a new emoji today. It's a Waluigi. Specifically, like, the Wah. So every time Love doesn't get an answer that she's looking for, you can use that emoji today. And then FFS had also said, how's this guy 30, 31, looks 50? Fulton County Jail do that? Can you imagine? Oh, man. You go to Fulton County Jail and you come out looking like Max Shart's. Hair just steams off your head. Just crazy. Thank you so much for your support, FFS. And Ike, good to see you. I hope you saw the comment about the Colgate toothpaste. There's actually a Young Thug lyric about Colgate, referring to your comment yesterday. Is it normal for a police officer to walk behind a witness during the trial? Strange. It always makes me feel a little weird when I see it, but it happens all the time. And I never know if it's because they're just trying to get something from the printer or put something up there, because the judge doesn't really sit all that close to where the printer is. But every time I see it, I'm like, kind of feels like a little intimidating. I don't know. So I definitely notice it too. Thank you for the super chat, Ike. Good to see you.
On.
I didn't make any plans. I just planned on enjoying myself for the night.
Did you know prior to going the cost of getting into the compound?
No,
Did you know prior to going how long the artist Lil Wayne was going to be at the compound?
no,
And when you got to the compound, did you ask whether or not Lil Wayne was still performing inside the compound?
I would say.
I'm sorry, did you say that? I can't hear you.
Yes. Relevant.
Overruled, sir.
did I ask anyone? No,
Did you try to find out in any way whether he was still performing?
no.
So when you get up to the compound and you're in the car with Shannon and Dee, what do Shannon and Dee do when you go up to the door, the entryway to the compound?
I don't know.
Foundation.
Oh, I'll stay in the objection.
I don't recall.
Hold
Oh, my bad.
on. Let her pose another question to you, okay? All right.
Does Shannon and Dee go to the door of the compound with you?
I don't recall.
Is your inability to recall for any reason in particular?
The length of time it was ago, it was a long time ago. I don't remember everything step by step that happened that night, so no.
Do you remember how you got home?
Yes,
How'd you get home?
I drove
What did you drive?
to Mercedes-Benz.
Was there anyone in the car with you?
I don't remember step by step.
How do you remember who you came with but don't remember who you left with?
That was a long time ago.
Did you communicate with any other YSL members while you were at the compound? Not on the way, but while you were at the compound.
I recall telling I'm finna go in the club.
Did you communicate with any other YSL members any more than to say the words, I'm about to go into the club?
That's the only thing I recall.
Do you recall members of YSL saying anything to you without telling the jury what they said?
I don't recall.
Did you tell us yesterday whether Jimmy Winfrey was one of the YSL members that went with you to the compound as a group?
No,
And was Jimmy Winfrey one of the YSL members that went to the compound?
he was there, yes.
Do you remember what he was driving?
It was a long time ago.
Is that a yes or a no?
It was a long time, oh no,
I'm sorry?
no.
And Walter Murphy, the Walter Murphy that you spoke about associating with Ogden, was Walter Murphy one of the YSL members at the compound?
So it was a large group. I don't recall everyone who was with us from the length of time that it was.
Understanding that you may not recall every single person, my only question right now is, do you recall whether Walter Murphy was one of the people, one of the YSL members at the compound?
No, I don't recall from the length of years ago it was.
So, do you recall what time you left?
I don't recall.
Do you recall exactly where you went after the compound?
I don't recall.
When you spoke yesterday about the thing that you were not involved with, and then clarified as Lil Wayne bust you, where were you when that happened?
I don't know the exact time that it happened, so I don't know where I was.
What do you know about it?
Other than what I heard and seen, nothing.
What did you see?
Seen on the internet, the artist had his butt shot.
Did you join up with any other YSL members after you left the compound?
I don't recall.
Can you tell the jury how it is you recall that you all went to the compound as a group, but don't recall whether you all left together?
Overruled.
Can I tell the jury one more time?
Can you tell the jury how it is you remember you all went to the compound as a group, YSL, but you can't recall whether you left or who you left with?
No, I cannot explain it to the jury.
Can you tell the jury what you talked about, if anything at all, with YSL members after you left the compound?
No, I don't recall.
Did you call Jimmy Winfrey at the time Jimmy?
No.
What'd you call him?
Roscoe.
Is Roscoe the same person known as Pee Wee Roscoe?
Yes.
Did you ever wear any articles of clothing that said Free Roscoe?
I don't recall.
Did you ever see YSL members wearing shirts that says Free Roscoe?
If I'm not mistaken,
That's a yes or a no, please, and then you can explain.
I was trying to answer the question. So I can't give you a yes or no because I think that I was in prison at the time.
At what time, sir?
I think I was in prison at that time that he was locked up, if I'm not mistaken, or in jail.
So do you know when it is that you went to prison?
Yes,
When?
in 2015.
What part of 2015?
I don't remember the exact dates.
So, understanding that you believe you were in prison at the time and Winfred was locked up, my question to you is a slightly different one. Do you recall seeing YSL members wearing merch or shirts with Free Roscoe on it?
I don't recall.
Are you aware of the existence of YSL merch that says Free Roscoe?
I don't recall. That was a long time ago, man.
Do you know why or what it was that Roscoe was locked up for when that Free Roscoe merch came out?
Concerns facts not in evidence.
I stand the objection. You can refer to that.
Are you aware of the Free Roscoe merch?
I'll stand the objection.
When you spoke about Roscoe, when you said that you believe you were in prison at the time Roscoe was locked up, how do you know what time Roscoe was locked up?
I don't.
Then why do you believe you were in prison at the time Roscoe was locked up?
Because of the allegations happened in 2015, and that's when I went to prison in 2015.
I'm sorry, I don't know what allegations you're talking about, so could you please tell us?
So the initial incident
What initial is?
that you were speaking about,
I'm just asking you about Roscoe and Free Roscoe. So what are you talking about?
you asked no
No what?
to your question,
Since I just asked you what you were talking about, how is no the answer to that?
to your initial question.
Which question is that you're considering my initial question?
You asked me, did I know when Roscoe was locked up?
So once again, what incident is it that you're talking about when you make reference to the initial incident just now?
The incident surrounding the tour bus shooting.
What?
The incident surrounding the tour bus shooting?
Are you talking about the Lil Wayne bus shooting?
Yes.
What does that have to do with when Roscoe was locked up?
You asked me, did I know when I was locked up? Did I know when he was locked up? I think that was the question.
My only question is, what does the Lil Wayne bus shooting have to do with when Roscoe was locked up?
Hi, Nick and the Viking Squad.
I don't know. I got from the question that you was initially talking about the incident, so I didn't understand.
So what I'm asking you is, why did you bring up the Lil Wayne bus shooting when I was asking you about Roscoe being locked up?
He's answered questions.
Remember, what's your base for the objection, Mr.
Ask and answer.
Matthews? I'll stand that objection.
Was Roscoe locked up for shooting up the Lil Wayne bus?
Yes.
Okay. And Roscoe is a member of YSL, is that right?
Yes.
All right. And is that the same Roscoe that went to the compound with you all as a group, with YSL as a group?
Yes.
And was the whole gang of YSL as big a Lil Wayne fan as you talked about yesterday?
Sure.
I stand the same objection.
Who all was it?
I stand the objection. All right, you need to rephrase that. Okay.
Thank you. Would you tell the jury what members of YSL that went with you in this group to the compound were actual fans of Lil Wayne?
Call for speculation.
Okay, look. One at a time, please.
Tell us someone else is not talking.
Well, if you see somebody else to rise, you should rise when you make an objection anyway, so we can see you, because Ms. Weaver can't take down this, and she told you that yesterday. So, if somebody else doesn't make an objection, and somebody else can rise and make a timely objection. But I have to acknowledge you for purposes of taking this down. I can't take down 3 people at once, so I'm not going to do that. So, Mr. Matthews, since you made the objection, I've ruled upon it. Do you have a separate objection, sir? Mr. Sharp?
I didn't hear rule about the speculation. I didn't understand.
Listen up, okay?
Okay.
All right. Okay, you made it first.
Do you remember talking about being a fan of Lil Wayne yesterday?
Yes.
And do you remember telling the jury why it is that YSL went to the compound?
Yes.
What today is your memory of what you told the jury about why YSL went to the compound?
Your Honor, I'm going to object.
Basis.
It's a big question. YSL is not the first.
Overruled, sir.
Your Honor, may I have a close objection?
Yes, you may.
403, Your Honor.
Overruled. Overruled, sir.
So
I didn't even hear the argument.
I never said anything about anyone being a fan. I said that was an inspiration to the start of their music career. I said he inspired the music career, and I said he was an idol.
Okay, before we get into everything you said, let me make sure I heard you right. Did you say you never said anyone was a fan?
I said that he inspired the music career.
Just now I'm talking about.
Yes.
You just say that you never said anybody was a fan.
I don't recall saying that.
Okay, to your knowledge, was any YSL member a fan of Lil Wayne at the time that you all went to the compound as a group on your birthday?
I don't know. There are likes and dislikes. I know mine.
And were you a fan?
Yes.
And so, was it you then who convinced YSL to go to the compound where Lil Wayne was performing?
So my initial thing of the whole night was celebrating my birthday, and it wasn't even a thing till for everyone to say, hey, let's go here or something. That's what I wanted to do, and that's what I did. So being in communication of like, there was never, no one said, let's go here. That's what I wanted to do for my birthday, and that's what I did.
And did any YSL members have anything to say about your decision to go see Lil Wayne at the compound?
I didn't converse that with anyone. It was what I wanted to do, so I did what I wanted to do.
So how did you all manage to go as a group? If you didn't talk about it.
Maybe that was on some of their minds already to go to that club. I don't know.
I want to back up a little bit to something you said a moment ago in reference to what you testified about yesterday. Yesterday, do you recall telling the jury how you all came up with the name Young Fly?
Yes.
And today, what is your memory of how you all came up with Young Fly?
No objection has been answered.
I'm overruled objection, sir.
Today, what is your memory?
Today was my memory.
Your Honor, I object to whispered
Yeah, I hear that as well, so stop it. If you're talking loud, I can hear you as well. Please don't do that.
So today, what is your memory of how you all came up with the name Young Fly?
A passion for music. Coming up with a name for the music group.
And why did you all, as 3 founding members, choose the word slide?
Because I often listen to Wayne music. We often listen to Wayne music.
Tell the jury, and this was this pre-2014
Was
that you all formed YSL?
Yesterday I answered that question with I don't recall the initial date, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm asking you today,
And I got the
do you
same.
remember the year?
I don't recall.
Do you remember telling the jury approximately when it was formed?
If I'm not mistaken, I said that I don't recall.
Do you remember me showing you State's Exhibit 10 Uniform Bravo? And I can put it up on the screen. Can we get sharing capability, Mr. Kern? And that is 10 Uniform Bravo.
It's crazy that this is on 1.5 speed and it's still crawling.
Do you remember seeing that exhibit yesterday and talking about it with the jury?
Yes.
And
Excuse me.
do you remember referencing the date of October 12th, 2014 while you were talking about it?
Yes.
Do you remember telling the jury that YSL was founded at least before that date?
I think I said I don't recall the initial date of it being started.
Okay. While I'm not asking you the exact date, are you able today to tell the jury whether YSL began before October the 12th, 2014?
No, I can't answer that. I don't.
While looking at an IG post,
So you asked me,
him and I, the founders of YSL, So Brilliant, photo by Thug RICO Money, posted on October 12th, 2014?
but I stated that I didn't recall.
Okay. So even looking at that, you don't remember whether YSL was formed?
Hold on. What's the basis?
Objection, Your Honor.
I stand objection.
Does looking at this refresh your memory, whether it was formed before that date or not?
No,
Tone.
Are you able in any way to explain why you would be calling yourself original science slime _ slug and be called a founder of YSL on a date October the 12th, 2014?
no, I can't explain it.
And are you now stating to the jury that you can't give them any time frame when YSL is formed?
Objection, same objection.
Can you give the jury any time frame whatsoever?
No,
Would you explain how you're able to remember the inspiration for a name and not remember any time frame about when the inspiration came about?
no, I can't explain it.
Are you willing to offer one?
No,
Do you recall, as part of your agreement with the state, and I please, since they're
Here we go. Repeat those plea initials, everything he initialed off on, which is good for a prosecutor to do, but she has to keep doing it because her questioning sucks otherwise.
You can copy that.
One key. One.
And actually, and shout out to Nick Starro in the chat. Thanks for the raid. Good to see you on this side. Shout out to Taybiz TV, who did some great content last night. But I want to ask you guys, if this had been a different prosecutor, think of, if you've watched other trials, if this isn't the first trial that you've watched, if there was a stronger prosecutor questioning Trontavious Stephens, someone that knew how to make sure, you know, the questions were geared towards a yes or no answer, perhaps, not letting certain answers come in, keeping it more concise, not being repetitive. Do you think that a prosecutor could have done some damage to the defense with Trontavious Stephens? Because actually, in a way, I do think so. Nothing that would reach the beyond a reasonable doubt standard, but I do think with the right questions in maybe 2.5 hours worth of questioning this witness instead of a day and a half, if they focus in on some stuff with the wardrobe and the plea deal and did it right, they could have helped put the image of a cohesive gang in the jury's eyes. Again, I don't think beyond a reasonable doubt would come from this particular witness, but Love doesn't even get us close there. It's like she's moving the needle backwards. My opinion there. And yeah, like just shorter questions, because to me, he's so sympathetic. He seems so genuine. He says he's tired. He's not really part of that life. He reasonably, understandably cannot remember things from 2015, like who he was hanging out with in particular at a club on any given night. I mean, if you go to the club several times a week for months and years, and then you've got Attorney Love here asking you, who was standing near you at the club that night? Can you name people? Can you name everybody that lives on Cleveland Avenue? Like, it's just not effective questioning. You know you're not going to get an effective answer out of those particular questions. And I just don't get it. I just don't get what she's trying to get out of there. Thank you so much, FFS. I think, thank you to the mods. I think they had dropped my Cash App to you. Really sweet of you to ask. And you also had, I was going to say a question. It is a question. I was about to go hang out with Lil Mike and Quez for a Labor Day barbecue, but I'm here instead. Want to join later, Taybiz? Guys, I swear, if I had a mic, I know one mic. Next time I see Mike, if it's while this trial is still going on, I'm just going to call him Lil Mike. He's gonna be like, why are you calling me that? Be like, how's your friend Quez? And just see if they know. Oh, man. But yeah, and if you're asking Tay Biz to join this barbecue, remember, he could be Tay Quez. I appreciate you for the super chat, FFS. And Yadat says, her being in the difficult witness division? Explains how she asks questions several different ways, fishing for the answers she wants. I don't think she's good with difficult witnesses. I think she's just never been in the spotlight for anyone to be able to criticize her. What do you guys think? Do you think that this is... Like, honestly, I think she makes difficult witnesses more difficult, if that makes sense. Nobody wants to talk to her. We heard it from Woody, of course, in a very hilarious way about was on her knees begging. Left the interview when I wouldn't tell her what she wanted to hear. Great work with difficult witnesses, love. Same thing. Trying to contact Slug, Trontavious Stephens without a lawyer. And she asked, why were you willing to talk to Steele and Adams, but not me? Well, my lawyer wasn't with me. You tried to contact me without my lawyer. And Love didn't know how to fix that questioning that she walked herself into. So I don't know. It's actually shocking to me that she is the specialist for difficult witnesses. It really is. And I really think it has to do with, probably no mentorship for that role if their turnover is so high in this DA's office. It seems like the turnover is really high for the prosecutors. When Michael Sprinkle said he's been in this office for 10 years, I feel like he's on the far side. He's an outlier at this point. So, and then Ike says, a stronger prosecutor, by even a fraction of a degree, wouldn't even be in the courtroom without a ledger, without body, without ballistics, without voluntary witnesses, without more evidence. And guys, Nick Starro also just did a rewatch of Michael Sprinkle. It was a pretrial hearing, his Daubert hearing. Definitely worth rewatching. He also covered a pinch and zoom witness who was hilarious and very, in my opinion, hostile to Doug Weinstein. So definitely give that a rewatch at some point today because we have Michael Sprinkle coming up as one of the witnesses coming up. And Michael Sprinkle's answers were, maybe he felt like there was a little bit more evidence there for Shannon Stillwell than the other three that were initially charged. They had to drop the charges against Kenneth Copeland, was it Demiki Garlington, and Antonio Sledge. And then Shannon Stillwell, Shannon Jackson were initially the four charged for the murder of Donovan Thomas. And there wasn't enough there, so the three of them had their charges dropped. And the remaining evidence against Shannon Stillwell at that point in time was testimony, or not testimony, but statements from what seems like a jailhouse snitch. Nicholas Robinson was his fake name. Gaither recognized that this person, Spencer Wright, gave a fake name to Detective Thorpe. And they caught him on a jail call speaking to someone else about how he's going to get out soon because he's helping cooperate with detectives on the murder of Nutt. And the other guy on the phone goes, but you didn't witness that. And then he said, shh, not on this call because it's recorded. So very interesting. I think it's going to be very interesting to see Michael Sprinkle come in here because it's going to be exactly, I think, what you're saying, Ike. It might look okay when Love or Hilton questions him on direct, but as soon as they get to cross-examine Michael Sprinkle, and Judge Glanville blocked a lot of questioning from the defense counsels during this Daubert hearing. Now that he's going to be in front of the jury, Michael Sprinkle might be confronted with some very unfortunate facts for the state's case and how they approach this case, how APD approached this case. And I think he seems pretty forthcoming, pretty honest. I think crossing Michael Sprinkle might be one of the best crosses in this entire case because it's going to be exactly what you're saying, Ike. He's going to realize, well, me personally, I wouldn't have brought this. So thank you so much for your super chat, Ike, and your thoughts. Satchel says, difficult witness specialist indicates the quality of the Fani Willis bench. And I really think that's the problem, right? We hear about people like Amanda Timpson, who, she takes a role, she's trying to do a good job, watching funding, watching spending, making sure grant money is going for the things it's supposed to go to. And when she tries to keep things in line and raise concerns, she gets shifted out of a department and then eventually shafted. So you have turnover either because people get sick of it and want to leave. We lost Don Geary and I think Lizzie, Rossetti, something with an R is her last name. So Love is really the third prosecutor handling this case as lead. Which, yeah, I guess it's been going on for a long time, but that's doesn't bring much confidence. So high turnover in the office, and it makes you wonder, the people that stay, like, some people stay at the same job forever because they're good at what they do, they love the work, they like their coworkers. Some people stay at their job because nobody really presses on them to do a better job. It's basically like lifelong quiet quitting. So it makes you wonder what caliber, where the bar is when you have a department with high turnover like this. So I think that's probably getting to it. Yeah, she's the specialist, but nobody else was there. Just like Michael Sprinkle, he said there was nobody else in the department, so he was essentially just the head of the unindicted homicide department work. So we'll just fill the roles because nobody else is. Thank you so much for the super chat. Black Butterfly says, and I loved your commentary. Was that on Classy Beats earlier this morning? It was good to hear from you. I was listening, but I was like, oh, Black Butterfly. Sprinkle, aka Harry Potter. Yeah, he does kind of look like that. Does he have a mark on his forehead? Hold on, I have Nick's stream up, so just real quick here. When we say Michael Sprinkle, this is who we are talking about. Right here. Shout out to Nick. You guys make sure you go and give this a watch if you want to get a better idea of what we're talking about with Michael Sprinkle. And then Innocent Bystander, thank you so much. Thank you for giving me my YSL trial fix during the holiday. Absolutely, absolutely. This was not a day off for me. But getting some work done this morning with the help of Classy Beats and Nick keeping me occupied. You know, this is like the fun stuff, right? The happy hour, the after work. So definitely happy to be here and hanging out with you guys. Thanks so much. See how much more love drags this on about this picture we looked at yesterday.
16 uniform, thank you. Do you recall me showing you 16 uniform yesterday?
Yes.
And do you recall, as part of 16 uniform in section number 3, would you please tell the jury what section number 3 is called?
Special conditions of sentence.
And would you please read verbatim what section B, bravo, of number 3 says?
Defendant shall testify truthfully about all matters related to this case upon which he is questioned at any trial or judicial proceeding stemming from the facts alleged in this indictment.
And you understand that that is what you have obligated yourself to do? Do you
Outstanding judge's form.
understand that that is what you've obligated yourself to do?
Yes.
Today, as you remember it today, did anyone make you sign this?
No.
And yesterday you said something about being pressured. Who was it that, if anyone at all? Did someone pressure you?
Overruled, sir. Overruled, sir.
My words, if I'm not mistaken, they wasn't pressured. I think it was like persuaded.
Do you recall who it is that you're talking about when you say persuaded?
Yes.
And when you say persuaded, what is it that you're using that word in reference to?
Telling me what that person who is doing the persuasion persuaded me that this is in my best interest.
And so, did you agree with the person that told you it was in your best interest?
It wasn't a did I agree or disagree matter, because I hired that person to tell me what's in my best interest. So I don't feel like there was a agree or disagree matter.
Did the court tell you anything about whose choice it was to enter into any kind of agreement like this?
Yes.
What was it that the court told you that you remember today?
That is my choice. To make, yeah.
Did you understand what the court said?
Yes.
And what did you understand it being your choice to mean?
That it should come from me?
Did the court say anything to you about whether or not it could be your attorney's choice?
No.
Did the court make clear that it has to be your choice and not your attorney's choice?
Yes.
Did you understand that?
Yes.
So, did you agree with what your attorney said about entering into this agreement being in your best interest?
Yes.
And did you have an opportunity to correct things that you saw were incorrect as part of this agreement?
Yes.
And did you make corrections when asked to agree or disagree with parts of this document?
Not these initial questions. So I was given 2 sets of questions. I received those questions on the 27th. And
Changes made to the initial sets of questions that you were given?
the first set of questions?
Yes, were changes made from the time you were given the initial set to the time you were given the final set?
Yes, it was a complete change.
And were those changes reflective of conversations you had had with your attorney who didn't converse with the state?
Hold on. What's my changes? One more time, I'm sorry.
Did the final document reflect changes that you discussed with your attorney, who then conveyed that information to the state?
Yes, but without my permission, I didn't tell her to do that.
So the yes part, is the yes part to my question about whether it reflected the changes that you talked about?
Yes.
Okay. So the final document is reflective of changes that you discussed with your attorney. Is that an accurate statement?
Can you break down the question more for me?
When you first saw the set of questions given to you, and by questions, are you talking about any particular part of this document or the whole document? Y'all look at it. When you say the initial set of questions, which questions on that document are you talking about?
Is this the initial set of questions?
This is 16 uniform. And you said, as I recall, that 16 uniform isn't the set of questions that you initially saw.
Yes.
Okay. So on 16 uniform, would you please point out the area that has changes from what you initially saw?
So I said all the questions were different.
All of them?
Yes, from my understanding.
So the current charges, was that section different?
No.
So
So that's what you're asking. I understand what you're asking now.
we'll go over. Was the negotiated sentence, was that section different?
Your Honor,
I didn't even see a part.
Best evidence rules, since we're comparing 2 documents, I don't have that other document.
Your Honor, he is referenced.
I think he's just referencing conversation, so I'm going to overrule your objection, Mr. Steele. Unless there is another document that was...
No, Your Honor,
Okay,
this is something that-
then I'll overrule the objection, sir.
And to be clear, so that the record is clear, the witness has testified about something that I'm not asking him.
Objection to speaking.
I'll sustain the objection. Just go ahead and ask the question, ma'am.
So,
Was section 3, the special conditions, were those different?
so
Just, if you don't mind indulging me, were those different?
I didn't even see this. Me and my attorney went over the initial set of questions on via the call box in the jail. I didn't even see any of these papers. She was just reading and talking to me. I didn't see any papers.
Okay. Did she go over the factual acknowledgments with you?
No, it was just the questions.
What questions are you talking about?
They're not here.
So, is it your testimony that none of the factual acknowledgments, none of section 4, have you seen any of section 4 before you signed the paperwork? And not on this physical document, but any of it before you got into court and signed it?
Are you saying from these set of questions or the initial set of questions? I thought we were talking about the initial set of questions. Because
I'm asking you.
Basis. I'm overrule the objection, madam.
I'm asking you whether it's your testimony that you have never seen on any medium or ever heard any of the questions or any of the statements under section 4, not necessarily on this piece of paper.
Compound question. Why don't you just read
Have you ever?
a little shorter?
Yes, Your Honor. Before you signed this document, had you ever seen or heard any of the questions in defendant's factual acknowledgments?
what is that?
Here, I'll let you go.
Oh, defendant factual knowledge. All right. So, up under defendant's factual acknowledgments.
I don't need you to read them, but.
I'm answering the
Tell me a
question. I'm not
number.
reading, I'm answering the question.
Okay, just tell me a number. Tell me the number of the questions that you have never seen before you signed the document? Never seen or heard?
I'm confused. I'm sorry, I'm confused.
Can you just read to yourself did you read the document when you
Yes,
signed it?
yes. So I hope that this can answer your question. I seen this paper, the 28th and the 29th. I hope that can answer your question. I seen this paper, this whole entirety of this paper. My first time seeing this whole entirety of this paper was the 28th and the 29th.
That paper, does it have a DA seal at the top?
Yeah, what's a seal? Like a heading or something? Yes.
And that document, is it dated?
Yes.
What's the date?
December 20th, 2022.
And the question that I'm asking you specifically is not about the physical piece of paper in front of you. It's about, and you have to tell me, do you understand the question I'm asking? It's about the questions and statements under defendant's factual acknowledgments, just the statements themselves. Do you understand what I'm asking you?
You finished with the question?
I'm asking you, are you able to tell the jury which of those statements, if any, you saw for the very first time, or you heard for the very first time, the day you signed that physical paper?
I seen.
Hold on, sir. Yes, Mr. Steele, what's your objection? What's your objection?
The form of the question is no boundaries.
Same the question. You can rephrase, madam.
Was the day that you signed this paper the first time anyone ever talked with you about question or acknowledgement number one?
No.
Was the day that you signed that paper the first time anyone had ever talked with you about acknowledgement number two?
No.
Was the day that you signed that paper the first time, and let me be clear, read acknowledgement number one again.
Defendant Young Slime, like AKA YSL, is an organization made up of 3 or more members or associates who share common identifiers that include but are not limited to colors, hand symbol, terminology, who have committed crimes and intend to increase the notoriety, street credibility, and reputation of YSL.
Okay. And what is number two again?
Defendant is one of the founding members of Young Slime.
And number three is the day you signed that paper, the first time anyone ever talked with you about acknowledgement number three.
No.
What about acknowledgement number five? Would you read acknowledgement number five?
When asked by law enforcement about defendant's YSL and ROC Crew tattoo, defendants truthfully advised law enforcement that defendant is a member of a gang called ROC Crew, but that group is no longer going by that name and now goes by YSL, which originally stood for Young Slime Life.
Is the day that you signed this paper that you have in front of you the first time anyone had ever talked with you
No.
about
No.
statement number five that you just read?
No.
Go down to statement number 9. Would you read statement number 9 under defendant's factual acknowledgement?
Defendant is a person referred to as Tick in a song by Young Thug entitled Ill, in the verse She Getting Robbed by Tick.
Is the day that you signed this paper the very first time anyone talked with you about statement number 9 under defendant's factual acknowledgement?
No.
Now, would you read statement number 10 under defendant's factual acknowledgement?
On February 4th, 2021, defendant participated in a group chat with fellow YSL founder Jeffrey Williams, aka Young Thug, and YSL associate One Elite, aka Slime Like Shawty, wherein Jeffrey Williams stated, YSL rule the world, kid. Y'all just started bringing me the money. Man, y'all stop playing with me.
Was the day that you signed, let me see, are your initials next to statement number 10?
Yes.
Did anyone force you to put your initials there?
No.
Was the day that you put your initials there the very first time anyone talked with you about statement number 10?
No.
Now, who is Mooney Lee? How often, or did you associate with Mooney Lee? Let's start there.
Yes.
And going to statement number 11, are your initials next to statement number 11?
Yes.
Did anyone force you to put your initials there?
No.
Would you read for the jury statement number 11?
On May 13th, 2021, defendant participated in a group chat with fellow YSL founder Jeffrey Williams, aka Young Thug, and YSL associates Martinez Arnold, Miles Farley, Trontavious Stephens, Antonio Sumner, and Winnie Lee, wherein Jeffrey Williams asked y'all ain't beat him up or shot him yet, then states y'all getting soft.
Was the day that you signed Stacey did a 16 uniform the very first time anyone spoke with you about statement number 11?
No.
Let's look at statement number 12 under defendant's factual acknowledgments. Would you please read statement number 12?
The gas station at 151 Cleveland Avenue is a location where YSL associates sell drugs.
Are your initials next to statement number 12?
Yes.
Did anyone force you to put your initials there?
No.
Is the date that you signed state 16 uniform the very first time anyone spoke with you about statement number 12?
No.
Ms. Love, can we pause a second? I think our jurors need to take a comfort break, so we're going to pick up at this point in time. So, We're going to be in recess about maybe 5-10 minutes and we'll come back, okay? All right. All eyes.
Okay, I think the recess was longer than 5 to 10 minutes, but so something like this with the document, it is something that the prosecutor's going to want to go through and point out line by line, at least the important bits. His plea, he initialed off on quite a few statements that seem extraneous because we didn't get much explanation, and if we did, it's not sticking with me, it hasn't stuck with me, about why some of these last 3 lines were all that relevant, right? Okay, Thug talked about you in a song. Well, you didn't really explain to me why that's supposed to help your case, but you're highlighting it here. You know, my natural conclusion, I'm inclined to think if, you know, Trontavious Stephens was offended because Young Thug said in a song that you rob money from women, it would make me as a juror believe that possibly Trontavious Stephens has beef with Young Thug, would testify against him to spite him, would think negatively of Young Thug, maybe when he shouldn't be, just because he was personally offended and now is just hates everything about Young Thug. But Love doesn't explain the context of these things. She just wants the jury to hear in an open bubble. You initialed this, didn't you? Nobody forced you to initial that, did you? Well, what's the point of it? What's the point of this specific line that you're initialing? So I don't really get where we're going. Wait, hold on. Okay, so 1:45. And we're coming back at like 2:08. Let's get the jury back in.
Questioning accordingly, and we'll stop at noon, okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, madam.
Good morning again, Mr. Stephens.
Morning.
On your break from the court recess, did you take Stacey Exhibit 16 uniform with you?
Yes.
Is it why?
It was just stacked up on my papers. It wasn't intentionally.
Did you read over it while you
No.
were on break? And did anyone from the state attempt to talk with you?
No.
And did you speak with anyone else while you were on break? All right, then I'm going to give you 16 uniforms, okay?
She came back
If you
from
would
break.
Turn to page 4
Quick.
of 5.
Some pep in her step.
So we were talking about number 12 under defendant's factual acknowledgments. Did anyone force you to put your initials next to number 12?
No.
And was the date that you signed State's Exhibit 16 uniform the first time anyone had ever spoken with you about statement made in number 12 under defendant's factual acknowledgement?
No.
Okay, let's go to number 13. Would you please read for the jury State's 16 uniform at number 13 under defendant's factual acknowledgement?
The gas station at 221 Cleveland Avenue is a location where YSL associates sell drugs.
Are your initials next to number 13?
Yes.
Did anyone force you to put your initials next to them?
No.
And was the date that you signed State's Exhibit 16 uniform the very first time that anyone had ever spoken with you about the statement in number 13?
No.
The factual acknowledgments that you made. If I can grab 16 uniforms.
Can you imagine how much dead space, empty air would be on a rap album featuring Adrian Love? It would basically be instrumental. John Coleman says, I have a theory. This is all fake beefing. When all this is over, Love, Hilton, and Willis will release a rap album, and YSL will also release one. The most strategic promo of all time. Oh my goodness. You guys in the chat need to come up with stage names, artist names for Love, Hilton, and Fonnie. And also this, I saw it and then didn't pull it up. FFS had said, is that smart water from the DA? If so, either they aren't drinking any at all, or it's defective smart water. It clearly isn't working at all. My other question is, hopefully this is just something in the vending machine, right? Like that vending machine's probably contracted out. It's someone's choice to get something out of the vending machine. But if they were providing smart water specifically and had smart water on hand for people, that's kind of pricey. Hopefully it's just vending machine stuff. But thank you so much, you guys, for both of your super chats. And yeah, we're gonna come up with some stage names for these three. This DA's office. And we could throw Sprinkle in the mix. He's already kind of got a artist name.
By putting your initials next to each sentence, what was it that you were meaning to convey? Did anybody read this document?
That I agree to it.
That you agreed to it?
Yes.
Did you mean to convey as well that you agreed with it?
Yes.
And did you mean to convey that it was a true sentence?
Yeah.
I stand objection. Sustain objection.
By putting your initials next to each sentence, were you or was that any kind of acknowledgement that that sentence was in fact true?
Yes.
And is there any statement in defendant's factual acknowledgments that you put your initial next to that you are now saying was not true?
No.
And so, did you have an opportunity to speak with your lawyer about these statements before you got into court and signed the document that is stated Exhibit 16 uniform?
Yes.
And did you have an opportunity to tell your lawyer, or even the state, about any corrections that needed to be made?
Yes.
And did you instruct your lawyer or the state, either one, to make any corrections to defendant's factual acknowledgments?
No.
Did you believe or did you understand that the ability to do that, did you think that it had any kind of consequences? Like, did you?
Objection, Your Honor, ambiguous.
Overruled.
No.
So when you were talking about something that had changed, it was different. Did you see on 16 uniform, whatever it is that you're saying was changed or was different from when you spoke with your lawyer prior to coming into court and signing this document?
I see something that was changed or different. That was my first time seeing the initial document with my eyes and physically.
When you say the initial document, what are you referring to?
That document.
Physically.
Yes.
And what, for you here testifying today, what significance does that fact have on your signature on this document?
I didn't make any. I wasn't making none of it. I just answered the question.
I didn't hear you.
I was just answering the question. I wasn't saying any significance to it.
Was there any reason that you said that when you signed this document, it was the first time you saw this document? Any reason for the jury?
Yes, with the question that you asked me. It went with the question that you asked me.
Okay. So was the question that I was asking at the time dealing with persuading you or anyone persuading you to sign this document?
I'm talking about the question you just asked me before the last question. That's the question that we saying that went with.
And just for clarity, for the purpose of the record, what question is that?
Oh my gosh.
I can't remember that fast because due to me being tired, but at the time, that's how I was trying to answer the question. If you can repeat it, I can repeat my answer.
Are you willing to simply answer the remaining questions truthfully?
Yes. That's all I've been doing, truthfully.
Objection, Your Honor, argumentative.
This is so stupid for Love to be doing. I think he's genuine and he gave a good reason why he can't remember word for word a question he was recently asked. Especially since the questions are very confusing and Love is asking them in weird ways. But when you have a witness reminding in front of the jury that they're having difficulty remembering stuff, that doesn't look good because you're the one asking them questions, trying to use their answers against the defendants. Like...
Oh, sorry.
So, statement number 9. Defendant is a person referred to as Tick in the song by Young Thug entitled You, in the verse She Getting Robbed by Tick. When or what label was that song released on?
I'm not sure.
Now, when you said that you are one of the founders of YSL, would you please tell the jury the name of each founder of YSL as you understand that word to me?
I answered that yesterday.
Would you please answer it for the jury as you know it today?
Jeffrey Williams, myself, Trontavious Stephens, and Walter Murphy.
And what is it that you were founded when you named yourselves YSL?
At the time, it was a possible.
It was what now?
At the time, it was a possible record label because at the time they didn't even know the music was gonna reach the heights that the music reached.
Who is they? When you say at the time, they didn't know.
I didn't say they.
Okay, I didn't.
I said at the time, man. Yeah, I said at the time, we didn't know the heights that the music was gonna reach.
Okay. So it was a record label at the time you formed.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it ain't you, it's me, I'm tired. I'm sorry.
Okay. You know.
No, I'm good, I can maintain.
Now,
I can manage, I maintain.
when you founded this record label, do you remember where you were when you all came up with the name?
What's that? I don't recall.
And when you founded Young Slime Life along with Jeffrey Williams, is that what you call Mr. Williams? Jeffrey Williams?
That's his name.
I understand. What do you call him?
Call him my brother,
What else?
bruh.
What else?
Overruled.
I don't know, I don't feel like I call him Young Thug. That's for like, people don't know him. I call him bruh, my brother. That's how I refer to him, bruh, my brother.
Ever call him Slime?
I call him bruh, my brother.
Have you ever called him Slime?
I probably have.
And when you called him Slime, what was that intended to mean?
It was basically short for what his record label stood for, or what his, yeah, that's nice.
If you were one of the founding members, why did you just refer to the record label as his record label?
Because on paper, it's his record label. Groundwork is his. That's something he built.
So on the date that Stacy Vivid, 10 Uniform Bravo, that Instagram post referring to you as one of the original founders,
Yes.
was anything built that day?
I don't understand your question.
You said just now, and I asked you why did you refer to the label as his record label? Do you acknowledge still today that you're one of the founders of Young Slime Life?
Yes.
And if you're one of the founders of Young Slime Life, what does that mean if it doesn't mean it's yours too?
I don't know. I don't know.
Did you all incorporate the name in 2013 or 2014? Did you start in 2013? Did you incorporate the name Young Slime Life as a record label?
I didn't. I don't know. So.
I know that's technically a different question, but he just clarified that his name is not on the papers. So by you asking this, as a juror, I'd be sitting there going, he already told you that. And now you're trying to use like the bigger word, the technical term, did you incorporate, when he already told you his name is not on the papers. He had nothing to do with the actual paperwork. So why are you asking? What are you trying to get him to say? Just trying to establish that we founded something and suddenly you're not part of it? What is that going to mean? Everybody knows at least one person that has had some type of issue with somebody because we started something together. Could have just been a group project in school. We're supposed to work on something together. It doesn't always pan out that everybody is part of the final product. But love wants to insist that all things must progress linearly and that there's something nefarious to be extracted here. And whatever it is, she's not identifying the argument, the point.
Did you go around referring to yourselves as Young Slime Life?
Yes.
And why is it that you aren't able to tell the jury anything about what happened to a record label? Do you even know if a record label was ever incorporated entitled Young Slime Life?
You just asked me two questions at the same time. Which one you want me to answer?
The one that says, do you know if a record label was ever incorporated entitled Young Slime Mike?
I don't know.
Are you able to explain to the jury why you wouldn't know something like that if it was your intention to form a record label when you created or founded Young Slime Mike?
No, I'm not able to. I can't explain how business idea transpires. No, I'm not able to.
What were your contributions to Young Slime Mike as a founder?
I didn't contribute anything. That maybe why the reason why I'm not an owner of it or anything. Yeah, I didn't contribute anything.
When you say you didn't contribute anything, what is it that you're referring to not contributing anything to?
Gang, save the
question that you
gang,
asked me?
the big bad
What
gang.
did you not contribute anything to?
The question that you asked me.
Was it a record label belonging to Jeffrey Williams that you did not
Oh,
contribute
yes,
anything to?
yes.
Is it fair to say that the record label that was incorporated is different than the gang that was started when you all created Young Slime Mike?
Objection, leading.
I sustain the objection. You can rephrase.
Would you explain to the jury the difference or the distinction between Jeffrey Williams' record label and the gang Young Slime Mike?
Positivity and negativity. Positivity and negativity. The label that Jeffrey Williams created was based on positivity, and the game was negative.
And did the gang precede, did you all form it before Jeffrey Williams started his record label?
YSL is a music label, so music happened first. That was the approach, music.
Mr. Stephens, do you remember your testimony about 15 seconds ago?
Can you rephrase the question? It kind of, I answered the best of my ability.
Which question do you want me to
What you asking me?
Objection, it's an improper question, Your Honor. As the district attorney, just ask questions, not ask.
I don't need your help, Mr. Steele, okay? All right. I don't need your help. You need to give me a basis for the objection, okay? That's all I need from you.
Improper way to ask a witness question.
Improper foundation?
Foundation form.
Okay. I'll sustain this as a form of the question. You can rephrase, madam.
Your Honor, the witness asked a question.
Madam,
for clarity.
same thing, okay? Look, just
What?
rephrase the question, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right.
What is it that you need me to ask again, Mr. Stephens?
You just said a whole lot. So whatever you feel like that you didn't get my answer to, I feel like I answered your question to the best of my ability. So if you
I'll explain the problem. You answered that YSL was about music, not gang activity. So in Love's world, that wasn't an answer. That's why she's got to try to ask you the same question 17 more times. That's why we're here. That's why this guy was on the stand. Granted, there was a week-long recess, but from January 3rd to January 29th.
Mr. Stephens, do you understand counsel's question?
no, sir.
All right, why don't you just rephrase the question, madam? Back up 2 questions.
Yes, sir. Mr. Stephens, do you recall me asking you what your contributions to Young Slime Mike were?
Yes.
And do you recall referring to his record label?
Yes.
Do you recall my asking you why you referred to his record label?
I thought that was the direction your question was going in.
Do you recall me asking you why you referred to his record label?
Yes, you just asked me that.
And so, do you recall responding that a record label is something that Jeffrey Williams built?
Yes.
And do you recall me asking you the distinction between Young Slime Life, the gang, and the record label Jeffrey Williams built?
Yes.
And do you recall answering for the jury that the record label was positivity
Yeah.
and that the gang was negativity?
Yes.
And is Young Slime Life, the gang, the entity, the thing that you were one of the founding members of?
No, I was founding of the music.
You were a founding member of the
If you see what she did there, she took his answer that maybe wasn't the most clear answer, but it seems like his answer was we change Young slime life. We change what we're calling ourselves because we want to come off as more positive in our imagery. Love took that answer to be, we wanted to change from a gang to a record label. And that isn't what he said in his answer. But she's trying to roll with it.
So I committed crimes while being a part of YSL. So
YSL what? Young Slime Life?
Yes.
The gang?
just YSL.
I'm asking you about Young Slime Life, the gang.
I'm trying to answer the question.
Okay. I'm asking you about Young Slime Life, the gang.
So I committed crimes by being a part of YSL. So by me committing crimes by being a part of YSL, that was basis to say that YSL was a gang. Because
Wait a minute, I'm sorry.
Your Honor, objection to be able to understand.
I think he's finished.
And shout out to Cindy. I've been waiting for this part of the testimony. Cindy earlier had said, Kat, do you remember when DK said the police made them a gang because he committed crimes? Well, look, we have another witness here saying the same thing.
Already. So were you done with your answer?
And it was not responsive.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
so this is yes or no?
So-
I mean, no.
I don't think we'll give us.
Sir, please sit down. Please sit down. Thank you. Just please sit down, okay? I don't need any help from you, okay? All right, and there's no objection on the floor. So, all right?
My objection, Your Honor, to that last series is that the court, I would ask the court to allow the witness.
He's finished the statement. There's nothing else. It's like if he asks to continue his statement, then fine. But sit down and stop interrupting, Mr. Matthews. Mr. Stephens, are you finished with your last response, or did you finish? Was there anything else you were going to say?
But I lost my train of thought, Your Honor. But I mean, she can continue.
No. If you weren't finished, we'll let you finish that statement if you wish to. But you.
We'll let you finish. He just said he lost his train of thought, probably because you are screaming in the courtroom. And then because you catch yourself screaming, now you're going to act like the issue was him not being able to finish the question. But now he can't. He just told you he can't finish it.
You have to.
I don't wish to.
All right, when you trail off, what happens is that the examiner thinks that you're done. Okay?
Yes, sir.
And that's causing a little bit of confusion because the folks out here think you want to say more things. So if you have more things to say, just go ahead and just continue to talk, okay?
Yes, sir. I'm trying to my best.
And complete your answer.
Yes, sir.
Fair enough?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Okay, all right.
Mr. Stephens, what colors are associated with Young Slime Life? The gang.
All colors?
Mr. Stephens, would you do me a favor and tell me, have you ever heard the word snitch?
Yes.
And what does the word snitching mean to you?
Excuse me, Miss Lowe. Madam in the black, get rid of your gum. Remove yourself from my courtroom and get rid of your gum. In the earrings, yes, you. Get rid of your gum. I apologize, Miss Lowe.
Shout out to earrings.
All right, madam, you may continue.
You may answer, Mr. Stephens. What does snitching mean to you?
It doesn't mean anything to me, but I'm aware of the term that you. Yes, I'm aware.
What is the meaning of the term? What's the definition?
It doesn't mean anything to me, but I'm aware of the term.
How are you aware of the term?
I've heard the term.
How do you understand the term to be used?
Boomerang. So, thank you, Black Butterfly. Why is the security behind Tick? And I was just thinking, if he was out there on the floor, he could have gone up to earrings and said, look, whatever you're doing is distracting. Sorry, I have to ask you, but can you, not be distracting? But instead, he's been just hanging out, chilling up here. Just chilling. This whole time. Let me go back to Boomerang. Something. There we go.
am I aware of the term to be used? Yeah, indicating that a person is
Yeah, I'm gonna cut off.
a law enforcement or something. Indicating that a person is law enforcement or some nature.
So are you able to use snitching in a sentence?
Yes,
Please use it the way you understand it to be properly used in a sentence.
I heard someone is a snitch.
And please explain how, in that sentence, snitch refers to law enforcement.
I can't.
Why did you use it that way?
I mean, I've seen movies, and that's the direction that the movie was going in. Maybe even used the term. Maybe even got it from my movies.
And the way you understand the term, is it a good thing or a bad thing to be known as a snitch?
I really don't fully understand the term.
Ms. Love, this might be a stopping point at this point in time, okay?
Yes, sir.
Given it's pretty close to noon, all right? But thank you. All right.
All right, so this was a half day and they had like 2 recesses in it, and I still think they stopped before noon if I remember correctly. We are going to move to day 15 where we will get to cross-examination. Hallelujah. So, back when we were on day 15, Law and Crime, all the news stations were splitting their streams up. So we've got to split this in 2 parts. Let me pull it up to when the jury's here. Get to this. Get some captions on. And yeah, this part is only... The morning half was pretty short. We'll do 1.5 again. It's still, honestly, that seemed like it was crawling still. So let me know. Ike, I see you guys talking about food. You guys are making me hungry. But Ike said we've got trial food here. Write this down. It's important. Smoked salmon, Philadelphia cream cheese, green onion, chives specifically, pinch of dill, mix, spread on Ritz crackers. Now, see, I'm not a big fish fan. I don't know if I've ever tried smoked salmon. I do like regular salmon compared to other seafood, like grosses me out. But I do like salmon. But oh my gosh. Let me tell you how much I love a good bagel with cream cheese. I don't even really care what kind of bagel. But one of my favorite things, and I haven't had a bagel with cream cheese in so long. So I don't know about the smoked salmon, but definitely yes to everything else. Now I'm really, really hungry. And then FFS says, guys, good vibes in the chat. I do think when a comment is removed, it's just not displayed. So on channels that I mod in, YouTube will actually flag certain comments. I don't know what it is. Not always, like mods can still mod on their own, but YouTube will often flag certain things for review. So sometimes when you think your comment was removed, it might not have actually been manually by a mod. A mod can review it and then, I think, choose to undo it. So I've only recently started modding on other channels, so I'm not actually sure that what I'm talking about is 100% correct. But I do know that YouTube can retract comments for approval first. But yeah, so shout out to you though for, you said someone removed it, rightfully so, because it was out of pocket. And thanks so much for your support for the channel, FFS. Angie Lease, see, we got to come up with a new term. We always say you're sprinkling the gifts in the chat, dropping them one by one. But we have Michael Sprinkle coming up. So we could either stick with it and make sure we know that you are Sprinkle KLE, not Michael Sprinkle. But thank you so much, Angie Lay. Appreciate you. Say thank you to Angie in the chat. She's always gifting memberships. And we get to see her awesome dog every time. And then Don Allen says, this speaks volumes to the level of corruption in Glanville's courtrooms, that he would see nothing wrong with the deputy hovering over a witness. Yeah, so you've got the deputy standing there like the whole time. I don't think it was as bad yesterday. The deputy was going up there back and forth, day 13. I don't think the deputy was standing there for such prolonged periods of time, although the deputy movement was a lot more frequent than I remember in recent days. But man, day 14, just hovering there the entire day. Like, just odd. And then after all of that, You guys pointed out in the chat, everybody's snacking, drinking. Half the time, Glanville's chomping cough drops in the microphone himself. But somebody in the courtroom is chewing gum, and they get lashed at by the name Earrings. And I get that a judge can control their courtroom, but that just seemed a little bit selective. A little bit selective. So, here we go. We're going to, I think we just got the jury in. We've got it on 1.5. We're going to finish up on direct, hopefully. And that won't be the end, by the way, because after cross, they do some redirect. But let's finish out love for now. Atkins is relegated to the back table. All right. YouTube hates me.
Good morning, Mr. Chief.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm okay.
Did you get enough rest this weekend?
Yes.
Good. Did you have a chance to speak with Mr. Steele again this weekend?
No.
Did you speak with Mr. Adams again this weekend?
No.
Did you speak with Jeffrey Williams?
No.
All right. So picking up where we left off from last week, you spoke about having to disassociate YSL or Young Slimelight from ROC Crew. Would you tell the jury why it was necessary to disassociate from ROC Crew and rebrand yourself as YSL or Young Slimelight?
I really feel like, so all the guys that was ROC Crew, they was like older than me. Felt like it was time for me to start hanging around people my age.
Okay. But why was it necessary to disassociate yourself from ROC Crew and rebrand ROC Crew as Young Slimelight?
Your Honor, I have two objections.
All right, basis.
That's not evidence about rebranding. And answer.
Overruled, sir.
I felt like I was hanging around a whole bunch of older guys who I really didn't have nothing in common with. And it was time for me. I felt like I didn't want to do that anymore.
But why did you have to rebrand ROC Crew as Young Slimelight?
I didn't want to feel like I was going to still be a knowledge of like, hanging around the older guys or doing stuff that the older guys were doing.
Did you testify last week that you, Walter Murphy, and Jeffrey Williams are the founders of ROC Crew, of Young Slimelight?
Yes.
All right. And did you testify last week when you spoke, we needed to get away from the gang activity that ROC Crew was known for? And so we changed our name to Young Slimelight.
Yes.
Who is the we that you were speaking about when you spoke to the jury?
People who I grew up with, my age group, my brothers, all the names I gave.
Were those people founders of Young Slimelight?
No.
Okay, so why then would the founders of Young Slimelight need to rebrand from ROC Crew?
Why did I rebrand from ROC Crew to YSL?
You said last week, you did not,
Yes.
that we, you did not say you.
Yeah.
You said we. So why did we, as you put it, need to rebrand to Young Slimelight?
So that, using the we word wasn't even like intentionally. That's just the direction I was saying.
What does that mean?
Oh my gosh.
That the words I was using wasn't like thought out. I'm just answering your question to the best of my ability.
Okay. Were you trying to be honest at that time when you said we needed to get away from ROC Crew?
I'm being honest the whole time.
Specifically, when you spoke of the we that needed to get away from ROC Crew.
Yes, I was being honest.
And do you recall what you said about needing to get away from ROC Crew being known for committing criminal street gang activity?
Yes, we as in everyone who was willing to do something else. That's we had in it. Yeah.
Were we not talking about the founders of ROC, of Young Slimelife?
So a lot of stuff being said, and I'm trying to my best ability to follow the questions and follow with my answers.
Who was telling you a lot of stuff?
You asking me a lot, not telling me, asking me a lot of stuff.
Was there any part of what I asked you last week that you didn't understand?
Yes, but I'm making my best to process it.
And do you feel like you can't ask me to clarify?
I feel like you can ask, does anybody in the chat feel like they can ask Love to actually clarify anything? What a question.
Not without like, I don't know. You said, no.
You haven't asked me to clarify?
You asked me, do I feel like I can't?
So you do understand that you can ask me to clarify?
Yes, that's understood.
Okay. And did you ask me to clarify that before you explained to the jury why we, as you put it, needed to separate ourselves and disassociate from ROC Crew?
I didn't ask you that because I'm trying to do my best ability to follow up and not keep saying that I don't understand.
Last week, when I asked you whether there were members who were ROC Crew in this courtroom besides yourself, you said that there were none. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Let me ask you this. Which of these defendants in this courtroom right now are members of YSL Young Slimelife, the gang?
All of them.
And by all of them, would you please call them by name?
Quay, Rod, other Quay, Thug, SB, and Yak.
You said Thug, so you do call Jeffrey Williams Thug?
Yeah.
And Yak, is that Diamante Kendrick?
Yes.
SB, is that Shannon Stillwell?
Yes.
The two Quays, is that Marquavius Huey
Yes.
and Camardius Nichols?
Yes.
Lil Rod, is that Rodelius Ryan?
Yes.
Now, does telling on your friends to a jury make you a rat?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
Why don't you know?
I don't feel like telling the truth should make you a good or bad person.
All right. I'll put this down. Do members of YSL call Jeffrey Williams King Slime?
Yes.
And is Slime Life Shorty a part of YSL?
Yes.
And when we say YSL, are we still talking about Young Slime Life?
Yes.
Is Slime Life Shorty's real name Wooney Lee?
Yes.
Is everything YSL raps about make-believe?
I can't answer that. I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
You don't know whether any of what YSL raps about is true?
Objection. That's the answer.
I will rule the objection.
I mean, I don't know if it's true. They can rap about the amount of money that they have, and I don't know the amount of money that they have.
I did not ask you if everything is true. I asked you if everything they rapped about is make-believe.
I don't know. I don't know if they tell the truth or tell a lie. I don't know.
Do you know whether some of what they say is true?
Your Honor, also speculation.
I'm going to overrule the objection.
Can you say it again?
You can answer the question if you can.
Do you know whether some of what they say is true?
It could be some truth in some of the songs.
That's not what I asked. I asked if you know whether some of what they say is true.
I don't know.
You don't know whether you know?
I'm asking you. Asked me,
Okay, I'm surprised the defense didn't object for this repetition right here.
did I know if some of the stuff? I don't know. I can't. I'm not in the head. I don't know. I don't know the answer.
Have you heard Jeffrey Williams rapping about Rockford?
He may have. That's a long time ago.
How do you know it's a long time ago?
I'm asking if, like, I'm saying, like, he may have, but if it is, it's a long time ago. I don't think, like, no.
When would it have been that he would have been rapping about ROC Crew?
I guess towards the beginning of the career.
Do you know, as a founder, when you say the beginning of his career, are you talking about the beginning of his career with Young Slimelife?
The beginning of rapping. You asked me about rapping. Yeah.
Do you know why Jeffrey Williams would be rapping about ROC Crew?
No.
You testified that you associate often with Jeffrey Williams, Thug, SB. Would you name for the jury the other members of Young Slime Life, the gang? Is Christian Eppinger a member of Young Slime Life, the gang?
I really don't even know him.
Have you never seen him?
I seen him.
Does he have YSL tattooed on his face?
I don't even feel like I've been that close to him. Till I study him, I don't know him for real.
Why was it that you chose to put YSL and permanent ink on your body?
He has so many tattoos. Like, it's not
I
like
don't know.
the one tattoo I get is gonna be YSL because it
I really
means
don't
so
have an answer for that. I
much.
just chose to do it.
I appreciate your honesty. Is a trap a place where people sell drugs?
Yes.
Does YSL have a trap that they call the web?
No.
Does YSL have a spot that they call the web?
Yes.
What is the address of the web?
2531 Brownsville Road.
2531
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken. 25.
Brownsville Road?
Yes.
Do YSL members call Jeffrey Williams Spider?
Yes.
Going back to other members of Young Slime Life, would you tell the jury whether there are other members of Young Slime Life that you associate with?
Yes.
Would you tell the jury the names of those people? Do you associate with Mooney Lee?
Yes.
How often do you associate with Mooney Lee?
Austin.
Do you associate with Trontavious Greer?
Yes.
How often?
Austin.
Is Trontavious Greer Young Slime Life?
Yes.
Is he a member of Young Slime Life again?
Yes.
Is Trontavious Greer Thug's brother?
Yes.
What about Miles Farley? Is Miles Farley a member or associate of Young Slime Life again?
Yes.
Is Martinez Arnold a member of Young Slime Life again?
Yes.
Is Martinez Arnold also called Duke?
Yes.
What about Durante Beebe?
Yes.
Is Durante Beebe called B also?
No.
What do you call him?
BB. BB.
And Beebe, is he a member of Young Slime Life again?
Yes.
Is Javaris Bradford or Suda a member or associate of Young Slime Life again?
No. No.
You don't know?
No.
What about Damone Blaylock or Bob?
No, them guys young. I don't know what they go by.
Javon Fleetwood or Fortray or Psycho? Is he associated with Young Slime Life again in any way?
I don't know what he go by either.
Now, when you're saying I don't know what he go by, what do you mean?
I don't know if he young sign like.
Do you believe that he may be something else?
No, but I don't know. I just don't know if he say that he young sign like.
How do you know that the other people we just talked about are members of Young Slime Life the gang?
By association, I guess.
Can you explain?
Cause we all hang with each other.
Demekion Darlington, is he a member of Young Slime Life?
Yes.
And you talked about one of the nicknames for Demekion Darlington last week. You said it's Lil D.
Mm-hmm.
Is Demekion Darlington also known as Scarface?
Yes.
Does he spell Scarface with C's in there? Does he spell the word Scarface with C's in the name? Or does he spell it with SXARFAXE?
I ain't really asked him to spell it.
Have you ever seen it on Instagram?
I thought his name on Instagram was 30D. D.
Did you ever have an Instagram handle _1slug?
Yes.
Did you have that Instagram handle in 2021 and 2022?
Yes.
And did you communicate with other members of Young Limelight via Instagram?
Yes.
Did you also communicate with members of Young Limelight via FaceTime?
Yes.
Were there any particular times that you would prefer to use FaceTime over a regular phone call?
Yes.
What times were those? When you're talking to members of YSL?
Oh, geez, that's the microphone.
One moment. Go ahead, you may.
I prefer FaceTime over any form of like communicating. It's kind of what the iPhone was made for.
And just so it doesn't go away too quickly, Amy, thanks for being a member for 1 month. Thanks for coming over here and hanging out. You were so nice, sweet, and accommodating over this morning in Classy Beats stream. Guys, I just dropped a link, didn't want you to miss it, to Classy Beats channel. This morning he did a live. It was a rewind on Mooktook's plea. So we're going to see apparently one of the next 10 witnesses, depending on if the state rearranges. I don't know exactly when he'll be called. My guess is he will be called this week unless something comes up. But if you want to get a sneak peek at what is part of Antonio Sledge or Mooktook's plea deal, there's different facts that are included in his plea deal that he needs to, as part of his plea agreement, be willing to testify to at trial. So we're getting a sample of this by rewatching Trontavious Stephens. Some of the things he's saying, he signed off that he would testify to right here and right now while he's on the stand. But Classy really did a full rundown of Mooktook's plea hearing. If you want to get the deets on what to expect when he takes a stand, maybe this week, grab that link in the chat. And again, thank you so much, Amy, for coming to hang out with us today. They buffer me every time I've been hitting play today.
FaceTime.
Who knows?
I mean, like, that's what I feel like.
Is Quindarius Zachary a member of YSL or Young Limelight?
Yes.
Do you know how long he's been a member of Young Limelight?
Not to the exact.
Was he one of the founding members?
No.
Kenneth Copeland, was he a member of Young Limelight?
Yes.
Do you know how long Kenneth Copeland has been a member of Young Limelight?
Not to the exact. No, not to the exact extent.
Not to this day.
Not to the exact.
Okay. Can you estimate?
Not for a while.
Does your while go back as far as 2015?
Yes.
Does it go back as far as January 1st of 2015?
Yes.
Does it go back as far as November of 2014?
Yeah.
What is the nickname or what do you call Quindarius Zachary?
D.
And what do other members of Young Limelight call Quindarius Zachary?
D.
What about Kenneth Copeland?
No, that's actually interesting because he said D for both Demikian Garlington and Zachary, who, you know, we've had that drilled in our head now that Zachary is Lil D. But he sticks to just D and D for the two of them.
What do members of Young Limelight call Kenneth Copeland?
Woody.
Woody?
Yeah.
Demise McMullen. Is he a member of Young Limelight? Do you know him?
Yeah. Yes.
And do you and other members of Young Limelight call Demise McMullen Nard?
Yes.
Aquarius Mender, do you know him?
Yes.
Is he a member or associate of Young Limelight again?
I say associate.
Is he a member of Young Limelight? Or associate?
Yeah, associate.
How do you distinguish between being a member and an associate of Young Limelight?
I feel like associate because like I don't know him too well.
Okay. Jaden Myrick. Is he a member of Young Limelight?
No, I don't know him at all. I mean, I know him from the indictment, but for the street, I haven't been around him on the street before.
Antonio Sledge.
Yes.
He's a member?
Yes.
How long has Antonio Sledge been a member of Young Limelight?
For a while.
And again, just give me an estimate for you.
Yeah, you can say as far as 2015, 14.
He was a member of Young Limelight in 2014.
I said you can say as far as 2014 or 15.
Thank you. What do members of Young Limelight call Antonio Sledge?
Moulton.
Moulton?
Yes.
Kelvin Treadwell.
You got a nickname?
OG Bentley.
Yeah.
He's a member of Young Limelight?
Yes.
For how long?
You can use the same date for 2014-15.
What about Antonio Sumlin?
Yeah,
How long has Antonio Sumlin been a member of Young Limelight?
you can use around the same time frame.
What do members of Young Limelight call Antonio Sumlin?
Obama.
Jimmy Winfrey. Is Jimmy Winfrey a member of Young Limelight?
Yes,
How long has Jimmy Winfrey been a member of Young Limelight?
you get the same time frame.
Around the same time frame?
Yeah.
And what do members of YSL or Young Limelight call Jimmy Winfrey?
Roscoe.
Roscoe?
Yeah.
Would you tell the jury some of the crimes that YSL has committed to increase its street credibility?
Yes, Your Honor, call for speculation.
Oh, I'll stay in the form. You can rephrase.
Showing
I
you
thought this was almost, how much longer is she doing this?
as case exhibit 16 uniform. I'll ask you if you recall, number one, in 16 uniform, the very last sentence.
I don't know if I can do the rest of
And
direct
did
you guys.
Did you testify truthfully when you signed 16 uniform that Young Limelight is an organization? Your Honor,
I'll overrule the objection, Mr. Steele.
did you testify truthfully when you signed the statement in the 16 uniform that Young Limelight is an organization made up of 3 or more members or associates who have committed crimes intended to increase the notoriety, street credibility, and reputation of YSL?
Yes.
Okay, so she's going to get through the rest of these questions. They are going to take a, this might have been a recess because they split the day in 2. So I think that was just a recess. I do want to see her questioning on this same picture we already heard about. And then we will skip to cross-examination, you guys. Then we will skip to cross.
Uniform with permission to share the screen. We're going to put it up on the screen in front of you. Would you tell the jury who it is that we are looking at in State's Exhibit 11 uniform?
Demikian Garton, D.
Who else?
Emmy. Oh, okay.
Point to the jury where you are on that photograph.
I'm in the back.
And what is it that you're doing with your hand?
It look like I'm pointing up.
And what color is the outer article of clothing that Demikian Garlington is wearing?
Red.
What color is the hat that he is wearing?
Red.
What color is the hat that you are wearing?
Red.
Do you still claim sex, money, murder?
I told you I claimed sex, money, murder?
Do you still claim sex, money, murder?
No.
What is one of the colors, the primary color for sex, money, murder?
Red.
I'm not showing you what has been admitted as State's Exhibit 11 uniform.
Okay, and then the rest of the time she goes into tattoos and all of that. So I think we don't get to steal until after they do their lunch break. And Law and Crime had split this day up. But just so you know, that went on and on and on and on and on and on and on. All of that. What I think a different prosecutor could have condensed down into 2.5 hours. Should be much different. Oh my god, she's still going. More pictures, guys. More pictures. The door is red. That's incriminating. Where do we get Steele on cross? I'm positive it's day 15. Did I miss him? Okay. Let me go backwards. Steele. Maybe it says bubbleware. It says a lot of people played. Oh my god, the camera guy. I'm just gonna listen because the camera guy does not move away
I
from
was
him.
arrested and expelled from school.
Is that the first?
What has already been admitted as State's Exhibit.
All right, I think we're caught up to where Steele comes in with cross. And then thank you, Neek, for time isn't soap. Time isn't soap, but it can wash the dirty washing. I mean, I don't know about that in this trial specifically, and I'm only saying that because I think it's televised. So a lot of the things that I think could have been swept under the rug were tuned into just because it's available. But that's not the case in a lot of other trials that don't either one, have the attention, or two, the transparency. But I totally get what you're saying. Thank you for the super chat. And then Yedat says, unless Sledge says it's Woody/threat that killed Nut, YSL is cooked. He's not going to renege and take that 15. And since Woody is YSL, we'll say it furthered the gang. Yeah, so this is actually good context here. Let's see. So I had booked from C. Melson, who brought like a good summary if you did not get to catch Classy Beats or any other context surrounding Antonio Sledge slash Munktunk. So this is what Yeda is getting at and why. So Munktunk probably after Woody, unless the state is up to something different, but it's very similar to Tick's plea deal, except there's a little more. Antonio Sledge, Munktunk, has 15 years over his head. He's 10 years older than Thug and them, but I hope he doesn't allow the state to coerce him and do their dirty work. And remember, this is the same witness that Love and two others met with at a coffee shop. Shart knows about it and had asked if there was any Brady material from that meeting. Yeah, so we'll have to find out. And Antonio Sledge's lawyer was there, so maybe that's how we're finding certain things out. But yeah, I think there's a lot more hanging over Munktunk's head here. So Antonio Sledge, he might not be cooperative, he might not be forthcoming, he might not get into the talking that Woody did. Plus, with Woody, I mean, I think there was plenty of us to ask questions about because they ended up playing, some 16 hours of police interviews. So Sledge is going to be a different ballpark from both Tick and from Woody. And I think a lot more over his head that he wants to stick with. He doesn't want his reduced sentence overturned. So definitely going to be an interesting one to watch. And I do expect he honestly might take the stand tomorrow after redirect of Woody. So I do expect to see him this week. Thank you so much for the super chat. Let me get 1.5 speed, you guys. You guys let me know if you want to change it with steel.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Stephens, you are the youngest of 3 children to your mother. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
And you told us an older brother who I believe is 34 years of age. Is that right?
Yes.
And he works with Argo Cement?
Yes.
You have another older brother he's 33, right?
Yes.
And he works with the Clorox company?
Yes.
And then you today are approximately 30 years old. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And your 2 brothers and you each have different dads. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
And you didn't know your father at all till well into your teenage years. Is that true?
Yes.
And God forbid your mother passed when you were 18 months. Is that right?
Right.
Now, you told the jury some of your upbringing, and it's always been in Cleveland Avenue area. Is that fair to say of Atlanta?
Yes.
And I'd like to talk about some of your education and what went on during school, all right?
Yes.
Do you remember, and I understand you're not good at math, so you just tell me if this is right or not, okay? You remember being in the 6th grade, being about 11 years of age approximately?
Yeah.
Somewhere like 11, 10, 12 years old. And you were born on April 26th of 1993. True?
Yes.
Okay. So if you're approximately 11, would you think through with me, would that be year like 2004 in the 6th grade?
Yeah. Yeah.
And do you remember your teacher doing what I'll call a science experiment in the 6th grade? And do you remember that you liked that science experiment and wanted to do it yourself? You want to duplicate it?
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, the chemicals didn't match up and your chemical compound exploded. You've described in the past it's like a bomb. Is that right?
Yeah.
And for trying to do that experiment, tell the ladies and gentlemen jury what happened to you.
I was arrested and expelled from school.
And is that the first time that you went to the what you call, I think you call it juvenile detention center, if not, just tell the jurors what you call it.
Yeah, juvenile detention.
And some of them may know what it is, but that's the jail.
Yeah.
And for juvenile, it's people under 17 and younger. Does that sound right? You can stay till older, but that's generally right.
Yeah, 21, I think. Yeah, 21, I think.
Could be up to 21 years of age and younger, right?
Yeah.
And you're in there at 11. Fair to say? True.
True.
And before being taken into this juvenile detention center at age 11, you were living with your two brothers and your grandmother, your mother's mother, your grandmother on your mother's side. Is that true?
Yes.
And so, ladies and gentlemen of the jury know, your grandmother, hardworking person, right?
Yes.
You still live with her. Is that at times? Is that true?
Now I stay with her.
And she worked most of her career at different laundromats. Is that true?
Yes.
And she would take in the clothing, she'd wash the clothes, she'd do whatever it takes in the laundromat, if you know what she did.
Yeah.
Okay. And because she was working so hard, if you remember, tell the ladies and gentlemen jury how many times she was able, I'm not saying she did it to be callous or mean, but how many times did she come visit you in that juvenile detention facility?
When she could.
Couldn't hear you.
When she could.
Would the answer be, and I understand when she could, but would the answer be 0?
No.
Okay. All right. Now, you spent approximately a year, is that true, in the juvenile detention center?
Yeah. I was in and out of, so my whole juvenile?
No, I'm talking about just the first time.
Oh, no, not the first time.
Were you sent home or were you put into a group home?
I eventually got sent to a group home.
Okay. And tell ladies and gentlemen jury what a group home is.
A house where a group home. A house with other juvenile delinquents. I guess so they won't have to keep you in jail at such a young age, so they send you to a group home with other juvenile delinquents.
You eventually got returned to your grandmother's home and lived with your two brothers. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
And if you were approximately 11 years of age when you went into the juvenile detention center in 6th grade, were you approximately 2 years later, about 13 years of age, when you went back to school and lived with your grandmother and two brothers?
Yeah, that seemed about right.
Okay. And then in the 8th grade, that would have been about 2006. Does that sound right?
Yeah, in 2004, 6th grade, yeah. 2000, yeah.
2 years after 2004. Okay. And in the 8th grade, by this time, had you learned a lot about gangs and in the juvenile detention center?
Yes.
And hand signs of gangs and having people use little pricks into your body to try to make tattoos and markings on your body?
Yes.
All that happened. And when you got into the 8th grade, do you remember being arrested for firing a gun at a party?
Yes.
And you got charged with the crime of aggravated assault. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Also, in the 8th grade, do you remember being arrested for a theft or stealing a lot of laptops from the school? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you went back to the juvenile detention center approximately age 13. Is that fair to say?
I can't really put the numbers with it. I mean, like the timing, but I was in my juvenile life.
Do you remember, if you don't remember, it's fine. Remember being sentenced to a year in the juvenile detention center at that time?
I remember doing a year in juvenile.
Okay. So if we add a year to 2006 in the 8th grade, that would be approximately your release again in 2007. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
And you would have been at that time approximately 14 years of age. That sound about right?
Yeah.
And is that pretty much where it ended for your formal education?
I went to high school.
Mm-hmm.
That what you asked me?
Yeah.
I went to high school.
Okay. Now, in 2007, were you familiar with a place called Jonesboro South?
Yeah.
Can you tell the ladies and gentlemen jury what is Jonesboro South to you?
A neighborhood by Cleveland.
And were you aware, and do you remember if Jonesboro South ever closed, meaning shut down?
Yeah.
It's a housing project, is that fair to say?
Yeah.
And the city of Atlanta shut it down, if you know?
I don't know how I got shut down.
Okay. Were you aware they were shut down in year 2007?
No, I don't know when it got shut down.
Do you remember about the age of 14, Jeffrey Williams first coming over to Cleveland Avenue area to live with some family members? You would be age 14.
That could be true. I really don't.
I couldn't hear you, I apologize.
Say that could be true. I really can't put down.
Okay. Did you know that Mr. Williams came to Cleveland Avenue from the Jonesboro South apartment complex close? How about that? Were you aware he used to live in Jonesboro South?
Yeah.
Okay. And are you aware of Jeffrey's age compared to your age?
Yeah.
Do you know Jeffrey's date of birth?
Yeah.
Can you tell, ladies and gentlemen, jury?
August. August 8th.
Okay.
No, I know August 8th.
You said it's in August?
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay. And what year compared to you, if you know?
No. I better know the exact date. I don't know the year.
That's okay. Is Jeffrey approximately a year and a half older than you?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Now, when you were back living with your grandmother and your two brothers, were there times that you were hungry? Did not have enough food?
Yeah.
Okay. And when Jeffrey was living in Cleveland Avenue area with family members, were there times that he did not have food, if you know?
Yeah.
Do you know how many siblings, that means brothers and sisters, that Jeffrey had living with him in Cleveland Avenue area approximately?
Nah, I know how many you got though.
How many?
6 girls, 5 boys.
Okay. So 11 total children?
Yeah.
Now, around that time I'm talking about when Jeffrey first comes into Cleveland Avenue area and you're living there with your grandmother, okay? That's the time period I'm focused on, okay? I'd like you to focus on that time. Were there times that there were no utilities in your house, meaning at times there was no electricity or heat, air conditioning, water, things like that? Did that happen?
In my house?
Yeah.
No.
How about Jeffrey's house?
It may could have been.
Were there times that you were hungry and you had no money to buy something to eat?
Yeah, but it was because I didn't want to eat what my grandma had though.
Okay. And did Jeffrey ever share his last dollar with you to split food? Did that ever happen?
I would call McDonald's had a $3 meal. Yeah, we used to pitch in and help out to get that one, a double cheeseburger, $3. Yeah, we used to help out with that.
And you guys would split the meal. Is that fair to say?
Or if somebody had the money, the other person would pay if there was some money. We know $3.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, we found $3. I mean, we put together $3 to get the McDonald's meal.
You took care of each other. Is that fair to say?
Right.
And you and Jeffrey became close at that young age. Is that right?
Yeah.
I couldn't hear you.
Yes.
You referred to him earlier in your testimony last week as your brother.
Yes.
Big Chick Samantha, this is crazy to hear. I feel horrible for the guys, innocent or not. My brother was unalived by police my freshman year. The school hit me with truancy that same year. The judge knew why I missed school and didn't care. Like, if you can't get support from your school when you lose a family member, and thank you for sharing this, and I'm about to give a hypothetical because I don't know if it applies to your specific situation. But if you lost a family member, that means the rest of your family members are also dealing with grief. So your family, and when you lose somebody, your family might not be in the best position to be helpful to other family members. So if places like your school don't want to help you, don't want to be understanding, and then on top of it, they make it a new issue. You get in trouble for missing school because you're bereaving. You have bereavement, your grief. That all just stacks up. And thank you for sharing, because that does not sound like an easy story to talk about, bring back up. But that really happens, and it just shows you schools. We put so much trust in schools. We're going to send our kids there, and, I know different schedules, but like what, like 8 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon. Hopefully they're good while they're there. But then here you have an example of a school adding a layer onto a very stressful situation. And stuff like that just bothers me. I feel really lucky because the school I went to for a few years after we moved, I was there for like 2 years, and it was during SAT prep and all of that stuff, getting ready for college. My mom ended up moving, and my guidance counselor was fighting with one of my professors to not get me kicked out. Like, because I wasn't technically living in the district anymore, and sometimes because of the drive when the weather was bad and my mom lived in the Catskills, it took like 3 hours to drive to school instead of 45 minutes because of ice through the mountains. And my guidance counselor really went to bat for me. And I feel like my life would have been totally different if I didn't have that advocate. And it's just crazy to think about that. Not only is your school not being an advocate for you during that time, but they created a problem, an extra problem that you had to deal with. And it's just something that really pisses me off. like I was really, really lucky. Because I would not have submitted my SAT scores, done my college applications. Like, I was really, really grateful for that guidance counselor. But yeah, shout out to Mixed Chick Samantha. That is a big story to share and tons of food for thought from it. So thank you for sharing, and thank you so much for the super chat. And also, I agree. So kind of in the same vein here, right? Sam is saying Brian humanizes these witnesses while the prosecutors, who are part of the community, use them as tools to be discarded, just to get out the answers that they want to get out, and just keep pressing the button if we don't get the answer that we want. You're a machine. It's almost like they're treating them like Chat GPT. All right, hey, give us an answer about how YSL is a gang. Oh, we don't like that response. Let's try again. Like, just dehumanizing. And also, I really felt like Love was very condescending in some of her lines of questioning. And that's a whole separate issue. But it's not very helpful if you want your witness to give you the answers that you want. Brian Steele's humanizing. It could be authentic. It could be pure strategy. It could be a little bit of both. But it's like Love doesn't even try to humanize. And I really don't understand why, because even if you're fake about it, just be nice. Just be more understanding. She doesn't even want to give an inch. Thank you so much, Sam. And then Classy Beats, thanks so much. Shout out to Kat and all your amazing content. Congrats on the growth, and y'all get those likes up. Salute to the amazing Amy. Heck yeah, shout out to Amy for reminding me to get my butt over here. And guys, I'm starting late tomorrow. And I'm sure, Class, it's been a while, so Classy's link is probably long gone at this point. I'm going to share it again in the chat. But I know you said you were starting at like 9, like right on time, right? You said you're going to give like a 15-minute window because you think court's going to start late, but essentially on time. Guys, hang out with Classy Beats in the morning. I'm sure the usuals also will be going live. I never know if it's going to be AV or TLA on which channel they're going to be on, but I'm sure they'll be streaming. If Tay Biz, if you're in the chat, let us know if you're streaming in the morning. But tomorrow, guys, I'm going to start at noon. I'll be lurking in the chats through some work meetings. I'll be hanging out in Classy's chat, lurking in the bushes up until lunchtime, and then we'll start from the beginning. So if you're looking for something to do in the morning, all right, he says 9:30. So 9:30, which is good. You'll miss the probable recess that they'll have to take when the state has an issue with one of the witnesses they plan to call after Woody. I'm sure something's going to come up. But in the morning, come hang out with me in the chat over there. So it'll be a good time. And thank you so much for coming in and hanging out with us tonight as well on this rewind. And you're lucky you came at the right time because we just got done listening to Love.
Is that how you think of him?
Yeah.
Now, did there come a time that you realized that Jeffrey was very smart? Or is he very smart in your opinion?
Yes.
And is he artistic? Meaning he's good drawing?
Yeah.
And he likes fashion?
Yeah.
And he's musically talented. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
And you wanted to be a chef, right?
Yes.
Now, watching Jeffrey from the time you met him How dedicated was he, tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, to becoming a musical sensation or artist, popular artist? How hard did he work?
He worked very hard. He worked hard.
Have you ever seen anyone work harder at trying to become something in your whole life than Jeffrey?
I ain't really ever seen anybody trying to become one in my life.
And is it fair to say that Jeffrey had a mission to become a popular rap artist, musical artist?
That's fair.
Couldn't hear you.
That's fair.
Now, when Jeffrey was trying to become an artist and working hard, where would he go, or was it all the time that he was trying to learn how to speak fast, how to rhyme words, what to come up with? Were you there with all that? Were you watching him work?
Say it again?
Yeah.
My bad.
No, it's not fair. Jeffrey was working hard to learn music and how to present. Where was he doing it? Was it in studios, in homes, everywhere, in the street, social media?
I want to say social media. Social media went popular then, but yeah, home, studio, where we hung out at, yeah.
Okay. And do you know who Jeffrey's inspiration was in music?
Yeah.
Tell the jurors.
Lil Wayne.
And tell the jurors about Lil Wayne's music to you. What was it like? What did it convey?
Convey.
That's my fault. I'm asking a bad question. Why do you like Lil Wayne's music?
I don't know. The cadence.
Okay.
Um,
By the cadence, you mean like the beat?
yeah, his overall sound, his beat, his lyrics.
And about the lyrics, could you identify with what Lil Wayne was saying about the lyrics?
Could I identify?
Yeah, did that strike you as something that, yeah, I've experienced that, I've seen that? Did he talk about, what did Lil Wayne talk about or sing about or rhyme about?
Growing up in projects and women and drugs.
Stuff that you had some experience with or have observed, is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, as Jeffrey was trying to promote himself, would you tell the ladies and gentlemen jury whether he copied, that's my word, Lil Wayne, tried to be like Lil Wayne?
Yeah.
Did Jeffrey sound like Lil Wayne? His voice and lyrics?
Yeah, he tried not to, but yeah, he did.
I couldn't hear you.
Yes.
Did Jeffrey, did Lil Wayne have face tattoos? Do you remember tattoos on his face? Do you remember that?
Yes.
Okay. Did Jeffrey eventually get tattoos on his face?
Yes.
Did you get tattoos on your face?
Yes.
Had you ever seen anyone before Lil Wayne in rap who had tattoos on their face, if you know?
Okay, do you guys want to do 1.75? Because there is a lot of pausing here. Let me know. I also love this message from Linda here I have on the screen. Shout out to Linda. Shout out to our teachers doing good things out here. Linda says, I'm a teacher working with a lot of, quote, troubled teens. It breaks my heart, I'll just say. We are working so hard against the odds for our kids. Not just the big system, but crappy families, abuse, drugs. And I think the secondary layer there is, you know, sometimes you don't know the full story of what's going on behind somebody. You just try to help. But sometimes if there was further action taken, it could end up doing more harm. And I think teachers are in a kind of a precarious position where maybe you can sense something, but you don't know for sure. So you just got to find a way to try to help and be supportive of a specific child that you notice is going through something. One of the organizations that I do some work with, I happen to hear a really cool way that they help. I just help fill some backpacks. We get them like an assembly line and put like book, water, snack, and then just keep going down the line and filling backpacks. But they don't just like go and show up and hand them out to the kids like it's some spectacle. They trust the teachers because the teachers are with those kids day in and day out. They let the school have whatever book bags have been accumulated. And then the teacher during recess goes and puts the backpack on the chair or puts the item in the backpack they know is that child's backpack. That way the child, and this is younger students, but I'm sure it applies to teens as well, there's no embarrassment, right? Of, maybe mom and dad lost their job, they're going through hardship, they don't have a lot of money right now, they don't have a lot of hygiene products, like our teenager bags, we put deodorant and socks and stuff in the teenager bags. But the teacher doesn't want to embarrass the student. The organization, the Ending Children's Hunger Project, doesn't want to embarrass the children. So we trust the teachers to be able to, I think a little something's going on, and without being invasive or creating a spectacle and embarrassing someone, especially teenagers, we trust the teachers to be able to kind of sneak that backpack into that person's life to make sure they have some extra stuff to get by. So really, really, we put all the trust in the teachers when we do those initiatives. So shout out to Linda and, any other teachers here that might be hanging out in the chat. And then Classy Beats says, can y'all get the likes up here to 500? I think we can do it. We've got 980 of us in here. Thank you so much, Classy Beats. FFS says, I might get some hate for this, but I never believed much into this. But knowing what I've seen, if I commit a crime and if I'm white, you get a slap on the wrist. Do the same crime and if I'm black, jail. Well, maybe prison. Isn't it liberty and justice for all? Hey, I think I have a song for you guys. It's not the ABCs of Steel, but it kind of reminds me of what you're saying here, FFS. So if I can upload it while I'm on. I basically told Suno to make a Taylor Swift RICO song. Like, what would a Taylor Swift song about RICO sound like? And it's called Is This Justice for Real? So maybe that will be our outro song for the day, going exactly to this point. And then Aussie Tank, good to see you. Because remember, Aussie Tank is in a different time zone here. So good morning. That's like playing with me. Good morning. Thank you for all the awesome content and amazing chat and community. Shout out to the chat. You guys know I love it here. And I can go in other chats and see you guys everywhere too. It feels like we just migrate together. We are the great migration. So good to see you, Aussie. Glad you were here with us. And then Samantha says, the pain you feel today is the strength you feel tomorrow. That's true. That's actually a good way to put it. Really, I appreciate brevity, and that's a nice short one there. That's to everyone experiencing something. That's the tat on my bicep. Hold on now, you know what they say about tattoos. So what pain are you talking about, Samantha? Don't ever let love find out you have that tattoo, because she'll take a great quote and infer something else way beyond what it actually means. That's a nice tattoo. I actually like that. Thank you so much, Samantha. And then, heck yeah, we have some gifts, you guys. Putting some green in the chat. Thank you, I Am Shout. We got 10 new, or maybe it's Ian, but I think it's I Am Shout. Correct me if I'm wrong. We got 10 new members now. So everybody shout out I Am Shout in the chat there. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Super awesome of you. There we go. Oh, and we have an encore here from FFS that says, obviously some jurisdictions don't care what you are, which is the way it should be. There's laws, statutes that should apply to everyone no matter what your background. Well, and don't forget too, because even if you have statutes in place, think about things that come down to a jury decision. Statutes don't stop jurors from having bias and voir dire. You can only get so much out of jurors. Some jurors will hide their intentions or their ideologies. So even where statutes are in place that seem like the playing field should be fair, there's so many other factors that make that not so. But good point. Thank you again for those members. I see some love in the chat for you. There we go. There we go. And let's get back into this. We're going to do 1.75. Honestly, maybe even 2 if there's so much spaces between these answers, but we'll see.
They want to rap it, but they want to rap song.
Okay. Do you know who the person you're talking about, and if it's just...
I think they had a song with Jay-Z, Linkin Park.
Okay. When you were growing up, did anyone ever get you any counseling? Did the state or the court or anybody ever get you any type of counseling? Or the police?
Yeah, I got sent to Georgia Regional. I think it's like a counseling facility or something.
Okay. How about after going to Georgia Regional? Anything else?
I had caseworkers and stuff.
Okay. Like social workers?
Yeah, social work.
Now, growing up in the environment that you grew up in and going through what you went through, would you describe yourself as angry?
Yeah, but I was already angry going into the environment about my mom's situation, though. About what happened to my mom.
I'm sorry. Were you taking any drugs, street drugs, not prescribed by a doctor?
Yeah.
Can you tell ladies and gentlemen what type of drugs you were taking?
Weed, pills, Xanax pills, ecstasy pills, Percocet pills, alcohol. Yeah.
And Jeffrey did drugs with you too, didn't he?
Yes.
Now,
All right, we'll go back to 1.5.
if you met Jeffrey approximately 14 and he was about a year and a half older than you, he would have been 16. Does that sound right? About 15 and a half, 16? That's right. As the years went by, do you remember Jeffrey playing in like 17 and under clubs in the area? And when I say playing, I mean performing music.
Yeah.
I want to talk with you about a gentleman whose name came up to the ladies and gentlemen jury named Quentin Porter. Okay? Fair?
Yeah.
And he was also known as Boo or Big Boo. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
And you said that he was older than you, right?
Yeah.
He older than Jeffrey, right?
Yeah.
And he was like a leader of people in that area. Is that Cleveland Avenue area or ROC Crew? Is that fair to say? People followed him.
Yeah. I get my jacket on cold.
Yeah, you can wear your jacket, sure.
And just for ladies and gentlemen, jury, the young lady who's handing that to the sheriff is your lawyer.
I sustain objection.
What, I ain't supposed to have my jacket?
Okay, you put your jacket on, sir. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I ask you questions?
Yeah.
Mr. Stephens, who's the young lady who handed the sheriff the jacket?
My attorney, Chrissy Gladden.
Okay. Now, Mr. Porter or Boo, to your knowledge, did he help Jeffrey's career?
He was like known in Atlanta, and like he was popular in like the Atlanta nightclub scene. So yeah, he often got us in the older clubs and stuff to get
And when you're saying he was popular with the nightclub scene, you're talking about Mr. Porter, Quentin Porter?
Yes.
And was he instrumental, is my word, that's a bad word, did he assist getting, if you know, getting Jeffrey to play in these other clubs?
Yeah, assisted in getting us inside the club and the music played.
One more time, could you?
He assisted getting us inside the club and getting the music played.
Okay. And if you know, did Quentin Porter himself and others, he have put up posters around the neighborhood saying, everybody go to this establishment, Mr. Williams or Jeffrey's going to be, Young Thug's going to be playing, and everybody would come out. Is that true?
Nah, but he told everybody though.
Okay.
If he said something at a party, they helped the party.
One more time.
If Boo said something at a party, they helped the party.
If Boo said,
Like if he promoting the party or like saying something about the party, yeah, they help.
okay, so if Mr. Porter or Boo promoted this event
Yeah.
that Jeffrey's playing, people would go. That's
Any
what,
event, yeah.
that's what I heard you say.
Yeah.
Okay. And was Jeffrey's music being played locally in the streets? Yeah. When he was 16, 17 years of age?
Yeah.
And was Mr. Porter or Boo also would bring out a lot of people to watch Jeffrey perform? Is that true?
Yeah, that's what I was just saying.
Okay. Okay. Now, Mr. Porter was affiliated, he God forbid is deceased. Is that true? To your knowledge? Is that true?
Yeah.
And he was affiliated with the Bloods. He talked about himself being a member of the Bloods. Is that true? And ROC Crew.
That man said, man, Quentin said a lot of things. Boo said a lot of things.
Do you know whether you heard him say that he was part of the Bloods
Objection,
or
sir.
ROC Crew? What was the objection?
It was hearsay.
Not for the truth of the matter, sir.
Rephrase your, hold on, wait a second. Hold on, just I'll say objection.
Now, when you would go to Jeffrey's shows, would you consider him a great performer? Did he do a great job?
Yeah.
And was it fun watching him perform?
Yeah.
And was it fun being in the audience and watching him perform?
Yeah.
A lot of girls?
Yes.
And people were drinking at the establishments?
Yeah.
And Jeffrey was becoming popular in the area. Is that true?
Yeah. Yeah.
Before Jeffrey started to perform and get a reputation for being a rapper in the area, would you consider him to be shy? Was he shy?
Objection, Your Honor, on generalization, the timeline.
I'll sustain the objection. You can rephrase, Mr. Steele.
Before Jeffrey became popular by performing, was he shy? Was he quiet? How about that?
Objection made.
I sustain the objection.
How would you consider and describe Jeffrey's demeanor outside of performing?
No, I feel like he was always thinking.
He's always what?
Thinking.
Okay. Do you remember him when he did speak, covering up his mouth or putting his arm around his mouth? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
You remember his teeth being, in his opinion, I'm not saying they were, in his opinion, being unattractive?
That's a speculation.
I sustain the objection.
Were his teeth perfect like they are today?
Yes, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. Now, by the time Jeffrey's 20 years old, you're approximately 18 years of age. Is that fair?
Yeah.
And is it fair to say that by that time, Jeffrey is well-known performer on Cleveland Avenue and elsewhere?
By the time I'm 18?
Yeah. You remember Jeffrey putting out mixtapes? I Came From Nothing in 2011. Remember those mixtapes?
I remember I came from nothing this day, but there was that date that it came out. I don't remember that.
That's okay. But by the time those tapes were coming out, Jeffrey had a good following. Is that fair to say? He was popular.
Yeah.
And he was performing throughout Atlanta. Is that true? Yes?
Yeah.
He was performing South Georgia. Is that true?
Yeah.
In Alabama, right?
Can't remember the exact states, but I know he was performing.
Do you remember Florida and South Carolina?
Oh, I remember Savannah, because they used to always have over spring break. Savannah used to not have. That was a tourist attraction area over spring break. Peach Crust, Orange Crust.
Do you remember by 2012, the next year? Jeffrey's about 21, you'd be about 19. 2013, Jeffrey's with a record label. You know who Gucci is?
Yeah.
Tell the ladies and gentlemen, who that is.
Tell
Who Gucci is.
another Atlanta artist, rap artist.
And do you know if he signed Jeffrey to a record label?
Yes.
And then in approximately 2012, 2013, so Jeffrey would be approximately 21, 22, you'd be about a year and a half under that. Jeffrey was with a gentleman named Brian Williams, Birdman, and doing Rich Gang. Do you remember that?
Yeah, but I don't know no dates though.
That's okay. That's okay. And do you remember that 2013, 2014, Jeffrey had gigantic hits playing on the radio throughout the world?
I'm sorry. You're not asking, Mr. Steele,
Cases?
the question, I just didn't hear it. I didn't hear it. What date said.
All right. You can rephrase it, Mr. Steele, or repeat it. Repeat. What's he asking you to do is just repeat it.
By Mr. Stephens, by 2013, 2014, do you remember Jeffrey having big hits? Stoner, do you know that song?
Yeah.
Danny Glover, you know that song?
Yes.
Lifestyle, you know that song?
Yes.
Were they all, in your opinion, major hits?
Yes.
Okay. And by that time, Jeffrey's approximately 22, 23. You'd be a year and a half under, so you'd be approximately 20, 21, something like that. Does that sound right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I'm sorry.
No.
No, I did not mean to interrupt you.
No. So you keep on saying the 2 years. Yeah. Every time his birthday change, mine change.
Exactly. Was that it?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember during that time, 2013, 2014, seeing Jeffrey come up in magazines? People writing about him in Rolling Stone and Complex. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I can't. I don't recall that.
Do you remember him having followers on social media?
Yeah. No.
Lots of followers, remember that?
Yeah.
And during all that time, from when you met Jeffrey to the time we're talking about, we stopped approximately 2013, 2014 for now. How many times did Jeffrey Williams ever commit a crime in support of ROC Crew, to further the interests of ROC Crew? Tell the jury.
I don't recall. I don't recall.
Does that mean no?
Objection, Your Honor.
I stand objection.
How many times has Jeffrey committed a crime? We're going to go up to that year because we're going to keep talking other dates, okay? How many times has Jeffrey committed a crime to further the interests of the YSL gang?
I don't recall. I don't know.
You were committing, and I'm not insulting you.
Right.
I'm not trying to insult you.
Right.
But you were committing crimes during that whole time that you met Jeffrey until we stopped about 2014. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
You were committing crimes such as theft, right?
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Potentially drug dealing. I know that came later, but potentially around the drug dealing. Is that true?
Yes.
Potentially armed robberies. Is that true?
Yeah.
And armed robbery means that not only did you take like my possession, like if I was the person targeted, you took, let's say my watch, but you did it with an offensive weapon, like a knife, a gun, brass knuckle, something like that. You understand that's the term?
Yeah. Well, I ain't robbing nobody though.
Okay, that's why I'm asking you. So it's thefts. Fair to say?
Yeah.
True.
Sure.
And you did that because you wanted instant gratification. You wanted whatever, the laptops, the jewelry, the car, whatever it was. You wanted it right then, right?
I don't know why I did it.
Okay. Now, when you said earlier that in approximately, and if you didn't use this date, that's fine. That's fine. Somewhere around 2012, 2013, 2014, something like that. You wanted to change from identifying as ROC Crew to a new place, YSL. Is that fair to say? You said something like that?
Yes.
And I know the dates are not perfect. And that's you made that clear. No one's trying.
Now, do you guys catch where Steele is going? You wanted to get away from ROC Crew to get closer to YSL. Not just to be part of what YSL was doing musically, but to leave the gang life entirely behind. So we're going to pick back up with that, watch what Steele lays down. But Survivor Speaks, this is really relevant now with the contractors are pulling out their contract at the Fulton County Jail. Separately, there's been other arrests for, one was like a nurse contractor, and then someone from the sheriff's office was also sneaking contraband or doing something inappropriate over at Fulton County Rice Street Jail. Just some crazy stuff going on, and I don't know if it's normal. I'm guessing it's not normal, but I think it's really interesting that the sheriff's office, the Fulton County Sheriffs, have a jail investigations unit. Like, is that standard to have? Maybe in larger areas? Because if that's not standard, isn't that kind of crazy that your sheriff's department has an entire division to investigate bad behavior by their own employees within the Fulton County Jail and contractors in that jail? It's kind of like, it sounds good as oversight, I guess, but how did we get here? But Survivor Speak says, I think we should be able to reach out to the bar as a collective. Love is a liar that has no soul. What happened to Shane, and this is Shane Kendall, is unacceptable and totally disgusting. Release these men and rest in peace, Shane. Now, this is where I am always a listener over on Nick Staro's channel, but Nick has gone into detail about everything that happened to Shane Kendall, and yes, it was Love that prosecuted his case and refused to consider his mental health needs during his time in custody while he was incarcerated, and he ended up, taking his life. And I think 2 employees, they could have been contractors, they might not have been, I think they were sheriff's employees. I think they were actually employees not contracted out. Stood there and didn't really follow standard operating procedures to try to save Shane Kendall's life. So a lot still happening over there. Nick has done a lot of deep dives there. And you are so right, Survivor Speaks. And I saw a different comment. I can't find it now trying to scroll for it, but I saw you say you're happy that, you know, this case for love it kind of got derailed. And I agree. I agree. And I don't really care if that sounds like a ha-ha at Love. I'm happy saying ha-ha at Adrian Love. Your case got derailed here. So, but thank you so much. And thanks again for bringing attention to, you know, the Shane Kendall case, which not everybody's heard about that.
Trying to trick you. But can you tell in an age or in an event what possible year that was? And if you can't, just say it was around that time. I don't know.
Oh. She I know the date she told me that it was like
You mean in your plea agreement?
no, it was just she said something about October when it happened. I think me and my lawyer went over it. When that statement was made,
Which statement are you talking about?
that you saying that I no longer want to go by ROC Crew.
If that's not what you said, don't worry about what I said. I thought that's what you said.
Yeah.
Okay.
You asked me about the date.
Approximately. If a year, you know, a year or something like that. If you know, if you don't know, Mr. Stevens, just say, you know.
Yeah, I know. I'm telling you, I know. I remember even me and my attorney talking about the date that was pops had.
All right, let me ask you a different question. Do you remember a gentleman named Javaris Crittenton?
Yes.
You know who that is?
Yeah.
Tell the ladies and gentlemen, jury, who Javaris Crittenton is.
Who he is to me?
One time.
Who he is to me?
If you know, what did he do for a living? How about that? What was he known for? Did he excel at something?
I'm going to object, foundation.
I have him on cross. First of all.
No, still, I sustain it. You can rephrase it.
Do you know whether he excelled at a sport?
Yes.
What sport?
Basketball.
Okay. And was there ever a time that you found out, whether it's true or not, I don't know, whether you believe that Quentin Porter or Boo, or Big Boo, told Javaris Crittenton that you armed robbed him? Did you ever hear that?
Yeah, I heard that.
Okay. And is that the reason, tell the jury, that you wanted to separate from ROC Crew because you wanted to show that you were not happy with Mr. Porter?
John, I object as to ask and answer easily.
Oh, the objection. Yes, sir. Sir, you can answer the question.
Yeah.
Now, at the time that YSL was the label, the letters, whatever, the term that was chosen, my understanding that you were in a room.
Your Honor, objection is to Mr. Steele's understanding testify.
Okay, so sorry for that buffering. I just pulled up Nick Starrow's Fulton County Fails playlist. So I'm linking to that in the chat. It has Shane Kendall case information and some other Fulton County fails. So I think you guys will enjoy it. So that is now in the chat for you guys there if you guys want to check that out. Great stuff over there on Nick's channel.
I sustain the objection.
I go on cross-examination.
So what? You still can't testify, Mr. Steele.
You were in a room, is that fair to say? Was it outside or inside?
What's the start of the question?
When you feel like and you remember that you were going to call yourself YSL, were you inside a building, a room? Were you outside at a park? Do you remember?
No, I don't remember.
I couldn't hear you.
No, I don't remember.
Okay. Do you remember Jeffrey being there?
No, I don't know.
Do you remember Walter Murphy being there?
I already said I don't remember like the time or none of it. The time, no, I don't remember.
Now, I'm not asking you about the time, but do you recall wearing a belt buckle with YSL on it? You ever wear a belt buckle like that?
Yeah.
Do you recall conversations saying you didn't want to call yourself ROC Crew anymore, and people saying, we're going to say YSL? You remember that on your belt buckle?
Yeah.
And were those people who were there, Jeffrey,
Question.
Is that true? And if you don't remember, just say I don't remember.
But you said at a room, though. I don't remember like exact place it was happening.
Don't worry about it, where it was. Wherever it was.
Yeah.
Jeffrey was there, Walter Murphy was there.
Yeah.
Was Mr. Crenshaw there?
Crenshaw?
Mondo?
No.
Mondo. That's fine. All right. Now, Jeffrey, or you, knew that Lil Wayne, he would sing about like a record label. Do you know that? Cash Money, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. And during that conversation, was Jeffrey, tell the jury, was Jeffrey looking for a logo, a record label to sing about, even though you didn't have one?
Yeah.
And it was decided YSL, and you had decided, I'm not ROC Crew anymore, right?
Right.
Now, I want to talk with you about your incarcerations since you've known Jeffrey, okay? Since you've known Jeffrey, you were charged with crimes in 2014, is that true?
Yeah.
2015, is that true?
Yeah.
And then this indictment, 2022, does that sound right?
Right.
If I left anything out, correct me, and there may be a couple of different crimes in those years, but those are basically the years, is that true?
Right.
Tell the ladies and gentlemen, jury, since you knew Jeffrey Williams, and since he was popular and had money, you know he has money, right?
Yeah.
Tell ladies and gentlemen, jury, in 2014, how much money he gave towards your attorney fees.
No.
2015, tell the ladies and gentlemen, jury, how much money Jeffrey Williams paid towards your attorney fees.
No.
When you got arrested on this case, charging you as a co-indictee, that's a bad word. That's a bad word. Forget that. Charging you. Give me 1 second, okay? Your Honor, may I approach?
You may, sir.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes, you may, sir.
May I approach you, sir? I'm showing you what's already been marked and entered. Says State's Exhibit 23UU. I'm just moving the first page. You can look at the first page. And then the second page, you can look at the second page. So the 6th page I'm showing you of that document. You can look at the whole thing, but are you familiar with the indictment in this case that you pled guilty to in count 1?
Yes.
Okay. And Jeffrey's also named in that same indictment. Fair to say?
Yes.
When you voluntarily turned yourself into custody, right? No one, am I right?
Yes.
Voluntarily turned yourself in. Just explain that to the jury.
Um.
Tell me what that means.
I got a phone call from like family members saying that my name was on the news for my indictment, and my grandma helped me get a lawyer, and I turned myself in.
Okay. You came to the court, the jail, somewhere, and you said, I understand there's a warrant. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, to jail.
And you came with a lawyer.
Yes.
You just said your grandmother paid.
Yeah.
Did Jeffrey Williams, so ladies and gentlemen, jury, in any way assist you in any way with any finances?
No.
When you said that you are a founder, when it's been testified to, of YSL, how much money have you ever made from Jeffrey Williams?
No.
Now, when you were arrested, when you turned yourself in, and you had a lawyer, tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury who that lawyer was, who your original choice of lawyer was.
Thomas Flugan.
And how much money did your grandmother pay to Thomas Flugan to represent you on this case?
$50,000.
Was that a large sum to your grandmother?
Yes.
And Thomas Flugan is not the young lady who handed you the jacket, right?
Right.
Tell ladies and gentlemen, jury, what happened to your representation with Mr. Flugan.
This is all about his circumstances of his plea.
Mr. Flugan told me that he had to withdraw because his wife caught cancer and he was going to have to be with her at the beginning of this trial.
What happened? How did you get the Honorable Miss Christy Gladden to represent you? Can you tell ladies and gentlemen, jury, how that happened?
Thomas gave us half the money back. We paid him. And Miss Gladden was my attorney for when I went to prison. So I reached out to her because I knew she knew me.
Now, after you turned yourself in with your lawyer, were you able to secure a bond? Do you know what I mean by bond?
Yeah.
Tell the ladies and gentlemen, Jerry, what bond is.
I mean, you've been charged with something, and you get a bond, bail.
Okay. So, do you remember the date or approximate date you turned yourself into custody on this case?
I think like it was May. I don't remember the exact date.
Okay. May 2022?
Yeah.
And then in front of you, you were released after you took a plea agreement, right? You were released, you went home, right?
Yes.
And that was approximately December 29th, 2022?
I remember it being December.
You can look at the second page of the document that's in front of you. Take the other way. So, yes. Should have a date on it, should be. And look at it, make sure you know.
Yeah. I don't see it.
May I approach you, Honor?
You may, sir.
Thank you. May I approach you, sir?
I see my birthday. You don't see it?
It's okay. May I come up closer?
Yeah. Yeah.
See December 29th, 2022?
Yeah.
So, I want to talk with you. You spoke a lot with the district attorney about your guilty plea being freely and voluntarily. Remember all those questions?
Yeah.
And you remember that nobody...
This is why it
coerced you. Do you know
matters.
what force means, sir?
I mean, I know what direction.
Nobody had like a gun to your face to make
Yeah.
you. Is that true? No one forced you, right?
Right.
Okay. But I want to discuss with you what was going on around December 29, 2022 when you entered that guilty plea, okay? Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right. You had been in custody, that means without a bond, for approximately 7 months. Does that sound right? Let's do it differently. May, you turn yourself in, right?
Mm-hmm.
In June, you're in jail?
Mm-hmm.
July, you're in the Fulton County Jail, correct? True?
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yeah.
August? September 2022?
Mm-hmm.
October 2022? True?
Mm-hmm.
November 2022? And most of December 2022. So approximately 8 months. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Okay. And tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury how many children you have.
I got 3 boys.
And can you give your ages? Their ages.
2 8-year-olds and a 12-year-old.
And during the time that you're in jail, who are they staying with?
Their mother.
And how many mothers do the 3 children have?
I mean, mother.
Yeah.
Oh, they each have their own mother.
Okay. And who was helping out? Well, you're in jail for approximately 7 or 8 months. Were you able to help out financially or emotionally any of your children?
No.
When you were in jail for approximately 7 or 8 months, were you able to help out emotionally or monetarily any of your children's mothers?
No.
And your lawyer, the Honorable Ms. Gladden, do you remember when you hired her to be your lawyer?
Not exact date.
Let me show you where I'll mark as Mr. Williams number 16, and I'll fill you.
So just laying it out that he was under pressure, he was losing income for his family, he already spent $50K
What I've marked as Mr. Williams number
on
16.
an attorney.
Tell me if you recognize that document and if it helps you to remember the day that Ms. Gladden became your lawyer.
You want me to read it?
To yourself, you can read it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The date on it.
Okay, that helps you? Did you recognize that document?
Yeah.
Here, I'll move for the admission of Mr. Williams number 16.
Your Honor, I ask how you recognize it.
Yeah, lay a little more foundation, Mr. Steele, standing objection.
Do you recognize that document?
Yeah. I'll read it.
Said twice, Your Honor, yes.
Your Honor, I ask how. So the objection was foundation. How does he recognize it?
Standing objection.
Okay, how do you recognize that document?
I read it. You just told me to read it in my head.
Okay, and is it from your lawyer? Ms. Gladden?
Yeah. Yeah.
And does it say that she's your lawyer?
Objection, Your Honor. the foundation has come to witness, and this recitation of what may or may not be on the document does not form the proper foundation for his knowledge of that document.
Can I see the document, please? Chris, yeah.
I'm a little surprised he didn't have a copy.
Mr. Steele, I'm gonna stand the objection as to form, or should say foundation, but I believe you can lay a little foundation. He knows what the basis.
And then shout out to I Am Shout. I wish the jury was allowed to talk to each other about the trial while it was going on. I believe there would be a lot of better verdicts. Well, this could be, a blessing and a curse, right? Because if a jury is able to speak with each other, it could start critical thinking a little bit sooner. But on the flip side, it could also create some groupthink, some bandwagoning. So I think in some cases we might get verdicts with better critical thought behind them. In other cases, we might get a little bit more, we're just all on the same page because we've become friends hanging out through this trial. So, although I do think when you have a case this long, being able to talk about it with somebody, because they're not supposed to talk with their family about it, they're not supposed to go on social media and look at it, they can't just go on Reddit with an anonymous Reddit account and chat about the case. At least they're not supposed to. So you're doing this is part of your life from about 9 to 5 every day, and you can't talk to anybody about it. Like, that's gotta do something to your mental, right? And it would be interesting in a circumstance like this if there was some way they could talk about the case with somebody just to stay sane, to get stuff off their chest. Like, I wonder, they should probably start encouraging, like, journaling for these jurors, but definitely crazy to think about for a long case like this. But then again, if they were talking about this case for so long, this jury we're on day 121 tomorrow, what if, because they're talking, they're only focused on certain things and they start to lose sight of their individual interpretations about a witness's testimony or the weight of a piece of evidence. So I think it's one of those things that I don't think that there is a perfect answer, a perfect solution to. But boy, do they have to be going crazy not being able to talk to somebody. It's day 121 tomorrow, and they can't talk. They just got to sit with it by themselves. I would lose my mind. Thank you so much for the support today. And then FFS says, how does he recognize it? Duh, he's seen it before, so sit down. I hate her with a passion. And I think Glanville's giving one of his usual, like, I'm going to act like I'm sustaining it just to have love shut up. Just lay some more foundation, Brian. Just do it.
So that particular document is.
What date did you hire Miss Gladden, approximately?
Do I look from the paper or from my
Perhaps
another?
to refresh your memory, you can, but then testify as to what you know.
So, I don't read the paper say it's an entry.
No, when you're finished with the document, put it down and then you can testify from it, okay? Testify is your memory. Okay?
No, I don't remember the date that she.
Approximately how long before you entered your plea on December 29, 2022 was Miss Gladden your lawyer?
I know I hired her in December and entered my plea in December too.
So a couple of weeks?
Yeah.
All right. And do you know how much you paid Miss Gladden to represent you on this case?
Objection, notice.
Goes.
I won't rule the objection, Ms. Lawson. Go ahead, sir. You can answer the question, sir.
All right. Now because my grandma did. My grandma. I don't know. I don't know how much she paid her.
Do you know if Miss Gladden works with a big law firm or is she a solo lawyer?
I think her firm named after her. Her firm is named after her. So I think she got a firm.
And does she handle other cases?
Yeah.
And do you know that from coming to court, the length of this case was estimated by.
And so I think that question there is, she's her own firm. You're probably well established if you are owning your own firm and you're clearly not a public defender. And then grandma, who scraped money together to raise her 3 grandchildren, is the one that's having to pay here. Like, that's something that I think as a juror, I'd be very sympathetic hearing. Like, why would you want to let's say you had money and your grandma's not paying this. You might not feel the pressure of having to pay attorney fees, but you're locked up. You're locked up on something you felt like you did time for already. They're not giving you a bond hearing. Your one attorney you've already spent money on has to dip out because of, medical emergency in the family. And now your grandma has to keep like spilling money from her pockets to keep this going. That sounds like you could feel the pressure to do something, to agree to something, to get up out of there. Because it's not just about you anymore. You're losing income for your kids' mothers, and your grandma.
A district attorney to be a year trial. You were aware of that?
Yes.
And you knew from the money that your grandmother paid, if you know the exact amount. If you don't, that's fine. Did you believe that Ms. Gladden was going to represent you on that trial for you?
Objection, Your Honor, compound.
I stand objections to form. You can break it down, Mr. Steele.
How much discovery were you provided in this case at the district attorney's office?
I remember going over it in the iPad with him while I was in court. While I was sitting in court.
Remember hearing 8 terabytes of discovery?
I remember right there about it.
Okay. And do you remember you could not get out on a bond?
Yes.
And you just missed Christmas? Is that true? When you entered this plea?
Yeah.
And the prosecution came to you and said you can get out of jail immediately if you enter this guilty plea with conditions. Is that true?
I didn't say immediately, but they said I can get out of jail though.
Didn't you get out the same day you entered that guilty plea?
Yeah.
Speak up, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, in the Fulton County Jail, tell the ladies and gentlemen jury about the food.
No, I ain't really eat it. I don't eat noodles and stuff and tuna. But it's bad though.
While you were in the Fulton County Jail, tell the ladies and gentlemen jury about people getting killed in the jail.
Yeah, I was hearing about people dying. Yeah.
While in Fulton County Jail, how many times were you able to go outside in those 7 to 8 months?
So the gym got windows, but you don't go outside though.
I couldn't hear you.
You don't go outside.
And is it fair to say, Mr. Stephens, the way you were living, there was urine? True? In the Fulton County Jail?
Yeah.
Mr. Stephens, pull the mic in front of your face so we can all hear you, okay? Speak in the microphone.
Yes.
There was feces? There was people's bowel movements?
Yeah, from the toilet, yeah.
How about outside the toilet?
They got a toilet. Yeah, that type stuff going on, yes.
Okay. Vomit?
Oh, yeah, it was some vomit.
You were living in filth, is that fair to say?
Yeah, it was pretty filthy.
And you did have access to TV at times, right?
Yes.
But sometimes there was no TV, right?
Yes.
And physical contact, like where we can shake hands with your family members, your children. Tell the ladies and gentlemen jury how many times that happened during those 7 or 8 months.
No.
And you were able to speak with friends or family on a video, audio, or a telephone line. Is that true?
Yes.
Between certain hours.
Yes.
Right? On certain days of the week, right? True.
Yes.
And when you were on, let's say, the video, audio, it's a little screen, like an iPad, I guess, right?
Yeah.
But there's people around who can watch and overhear you. Is that true?
Yes.
It's not very private, right?
Yes.
Same thing with the recordings, the jail calls. You can make a jail call to someone at the jail phone, rather, from the jail, but also there's people around, right?
Yes.
And the video, audio are recorded, right? You know that.
Yes.
And the jail calls are recorded, the telephone calls, right?
Yes.
So there's not much private conversation with your family or friends. Is that true?
Yes.
You lost employment opportunities, right?
Yeah, I wasn't employed before I went to jail.
Okay.
I wasn't.
And then when you were given this plea offer to get out of jail, I know that no one coerced you, that's forced you, put a gun to your face, God forbid. And you keep saying it's freely and voluntarily made, but it's under those conditions, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you did not plead guilty, you were facing 20 years in prison on count 1, RICO, right?
Yes.
You were also a recidivist, which means that you would serve every single day of the sentence, the longest possible sentence.
So because he already had a history, sentencing would have leaned towards the maximum, with the only count he faced, that RICO count 1. The range could be minimum 5, max 20. he would have been leaning towards the 20. That's what was lingering over his head because he has a history.
Sense, you realize that?
Yes.
So when the district attorney asks you, is it freely and voluntarily made and no one put a gun to your face, except those are my words, it has to be put in context, right? You wanted to go home, right?
Right.
Okay. Now, in your plea agreement, I'm going to show it to you. Can I approach?
You may, sir.
Can you see something, Steve? Can I approach?
You may, sir.
I see something in this. Okay. Now, Mr. Stephens, if you testify something contrary to what you signed on December 29, 2022 in this plea agreement, tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what could happen to you.
If I testify something,
So let me change it. Do you mind if Your Honor, may I withdraw that question?
You may, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Stephens, I apologize, that was a bad question. If you were to say something under oath today or Friday or not Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, or tomorrow, that is different than what you agreed to on December 29, 2022, tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what can happen to you upon motion of the district attorney.
I can have my probation revoked.
Tell the ladies.
Now, this is important, and we're going to just, we've caught this already, but we're going to reiterate here that this is important what Steele is asking, because just like he was under pressure to sign the plea agreement back in December of 2022, he is still under pressure, the same pressure, unless he wants to get rid of that reduced sentence and face the original repercussions, have all that come back on the table. He is still under pressure to say what the state, when he signed that plea agreement, wants him to say. That's the way it works. And Love went through and put a laundry list of specific facts that she wanted Tick to testify to as being true while he's on the stand right here, right now. So what Brian Steele is doing is laying out that, you know, this is probably why Love kept asking the same questions over and over. And you're still under pressure to answer the way the state wants you to answer, whether or not it may actually be truthful.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, how long that probation is for.
8 years.
And tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what it means to have probation revoked.
That you will no longer be on probation and that you had to serve the time in prison.
Now, when you were going through this factual acknowledgement, on page 4 or 5.
16 uniform.
May I approach with a copy of 16 uniform?
You may, sir.
Approach you, sir.
Yes.
I'll show you. You go through the whole document if you need, but I'm at 4 or 5. You see where I get that?
Yes.
Okay. And it's number 5. It's kind of in the center of the page. See where it says defendant sentencing acknowledgements?
Yes.
Read, if you don't mind, or I can read it if you'd rather. Make sure I read it correctly, though. Read number 1, and number 2, and number 3 slowly and speak to the jury.
I understand if I violate this plea agreement, the district attorney can and will use this statement during any judicial proceeding. I understand that if I violate any portion of this plea agreement before, during, or after the initial trial of this case, I am subject to having the entirety of my sentence revoked to prison. I understand that any violation of this plea agreement may result in my entire sentence being revoked and the district attorney will, excuse me. I understand that any violation of this plea agreement may result in my entire sentence being revoked, and the district attorney will recommend that I serve up to the maximum sentence allowed by law in Georgia Department of Correction prison.
Now, I want to go over that plea agreement as well. If you would, Your Honor, urge, yes, sir, on 16U, touch this one. It's on page 2 or 5. We're getting that from here. And it's on number 4. You see what it says defendant's factual acknowledgements? You see that? Read, if you don't mind, the juror's factual acknowledgement number 1.
Young Slime, like AKA YSL, is an organization made up of 3 or more members or associates who share common identifiers that include but are not limited to colors, hand signal, and terminology who have committed crimes intended to increase the notoriety, street credibility,
Look
and
at
reputation of
the
YSL.
hunching.
In number 1, when the district attorney, who prepared that document, by the way? When I say that document, 16U.
Excuse me. I don't know.
Okay. In number 1, does it say anything about Jeffrey Williams doing anything to promote the interests of the gangs on what you just read?
No.
Number 2, read it to the jury.
Defendant is one of the founding members of Young Slime Life.
Number 3.
Defendant committed aggravated assault as alleged in Act 1 by brandishing a gun at an undercover police officer that was surveilling a vehicle that was hijacked from a woman.
Nothing to do with Mr. Jeffrey Williams, right?
Right.
Number, I think we're up to 4.
In October of 2014, defendant was arrested with a red bandana and defendant was observed with a YSL tattoo and a Cleveland ROC Crew tattoo amongst other tattoos.
Number 5.
When asked by law enforcement about defendant's YSL and ROC Crew tattoos, defendant truthfully advised law enforcement that defendant is a member of a gang called ROC Crew, but the group is no longer going by that name and now goes by YSL, which originally stood for Young Slime Life.
Okay. Has nothing to do with Jeffrey Williams involved in furthering the interests of a gang, does it?
No.
Okay. Number 6.
Defendant advised law enforcement that YSL originally stood for Young Slime Life, but the group began calling themselves Young Successful Lifestyle after Jeffrey Williams, aka Young Thug, signed a record deal.
Jeffrey was becoming very successful, true?
True.
Number 7.
The statements defendant made to the police about ROC Crew and YSL are reflected in Section 3 and Section 4 above and are true and accurate.
Nothing about Jeffrey furthering the interest of any gang, right?
No.
Okay. Number 8.
Defendant has been accused of and arrested for robbing women.
Okay. Number 9.
Defendant is the person referred to as Tick in the song by Young Thug entitled Ill in the verse She Getting Robbed by Tick.
And ooh is EWW. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
You know that song?
Yes.
Okay. And when were you charged with robbing a woman? Do you remember the date?
And my,
2014, you remember all
and
that?
my attorney just told me that, yeah.
And you saw some documents
Yeah.
last week?
Yeah.
Were you aware that ooh was created in the spring of 2014?
I ain't know. I don't know.
Because you're not with Jeffrey when he's doing all that work, are you?
No.
You help me, I believe it's number 10. And if I'm wrong, just correct me.
Yeah, number 10. On February 4th, 2021, defendant participated in a group chat with fellow YSL founder Jeffrey Williams, aka Young Thug, and YSL associate Wayne Lee, aka Slime Life Charlotte, and Jeffrey Williams stated YSL with the word kid. Y'all just started bringing me the money. Man, y'all stop playing with me.
Okay. I want to show you, if you don't mind, look at your indictment. Let me get you the page. Okay, was that Mr. Stevens on number 10?
February 4th, 2021.
Is that over at 127? If you don't know, that's fine.
I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. Do me a favor. In that same document, that's in front of you, the bigger document, and remind me of that number on it, the exhibit number.
23. Yeah, you.
Okay. And if you could turn to over at 127 of that indictment. Do you know how to do that?
trying to pay 127?
No. May I approach, Your Honor?
You may, sir.
No, I just have to take it. So this is.
Oh, all right. I see your number. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
127. And just tell, ladies and gentlemen, what page that is of that letter, please.
No.
Say again?
You ready now?
Please.
Oh, page 47.
I'm going to show you what I've already shown to the Honorable District Attorney, what I'm marking as Mr. Williams number 17. 17. May I approach, sir?
You may, sir.
Mr. Stevens, do me a favor. I'm not showing to jurors on purpose. I'm not trying
Shout
be
out
rude.
to the
But just
poster
do me a
board.
favor. Just make sure that this is the same thing verbatim so the jurors can then see it. And verbatim, never. Make sure that what I'm showing you is Mr. Williams number 17 is what's written in number 127. Okay.
Yeah, that's the same.
Okay. Your Honor, I would move for purposes of demonstrative, Mr. Williams number 17.
Any objection to defendant 17?
Hang on.
All right, defendant 17 is admitted for demonstrative use.
Your Honor, probably just use it. And may I use that easel if you don't mind, Your Honor?
Which one?
It's behind Mr. Stevens.
You may, sir.
Thank you.
Well, that is not fun in the ears.
Mr. Stevens, I think it's behind you, but you can use, we can move that if you want, or you can use the exact indictment, okay? This way the jurors can see it too, okay? Now, in your plea agreement, may I approach one more time?
You may.
Can I see your plea agreement for 1 second? May I?
Well, yeah, no.
I'll give it a second. And this is number 10 in the plea agreement, okay? If I'm wrong, it's correct. All right, now, I'd like to show, you're familiar where this comes from, this excerpt comes from, aren't you?
Yes.
And this is a chat, right? It's a private chat. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And is it on Instagram?
Yes.
And you're in that group chat or along with Mr. Williams and other people, fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. And the prosecutor put in a part of that chat. Do you remember seeing that this morning?
Yeah.
And that was not the entirety of the chat, was it? What the prosecutor put in?
She did show me. It was, like she showed me. I don't think she showed y'all. I don't know.
Okay, but you remember it being 25 UD? Wait, I'm wrong, not 25 UD.
I don't know.
Regardless, I'm going to show
Yeah,
you.
I wouldn't know
okay?
the
I'm gonna show you
exhibit
chat.
label.
Tell me if you recognize it.
Yes, sir.
And I'm going to show you what's been marked as Mr. Williams number 2. Take a peek at that. Tell me if you recognize that. It should be a 2-page document.
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, I move. Yes. I heard you. And thank you, sir. Your Honor, I move for the admission of Mr. Williams number 2.
No objection at all.
All right. Defendant Williams 2 is admitted. May be published as you see fit.
Thank you, Mr. Kokomo. It should come up on your screen, but you can use it right in front of you, okay? Mr. Stevens?
I don't thing is, but it's like getting to me. It sounds like when you're like touching a phone and it has vibrate on when you touch the keys.
Mr. Stephens, Mr. Cook must be having a little difficulty. Let me ask for court permission if we want to publish it. I'll just show you Mr. Williams number 3 while he's doing it, okay? May I approach, Your Honor?
You may, sir.
Tell me whether you recognize that market, Mr. Williams number 3. You recognize what that is?
Yes.
Okay, and does it accurately depict a screenshot?
Your Honor, before getting into that, I object and ask that the witness testifies how he recognizes it.
I stand as a form. Foundation.
Is that part of the chat?
Yes.
Okay. And I know it's a piece of paper, but is that a screenshot of what was attached to the chat?
Yes.
Okay, Your Honor, I will move for admission to number 3 of Mr. Williams.
Any further objection, madam?
I don't know that he testified it was an accurate depiction, so I'd ask for more foundation delay.
I think he testified it's accurate. Of what
No,
was,
you didn't ask him that.
is it an accurate depiction of a screenshot of what was attached to the chat that we're talking about?
Is it an accurate depiction?
Okay, these are bad words. Is it accurate as to what was attached to the February 4th, 2021 chat as an attachment?
I don't know if this is the exact picture, but this is what we're talking about.
Okay. All right, and I'll show you the exact picture, okay? Your Honor, with that, I'll show him the exact picture.
No, show him. You continue later, foundation.
Can you do it? I'm sorry?
Hold on a second, Mr. Steele. He's trying to be in there. All right, try now, sir.
Okay, Mr. Stephens, what's up on the screen is now Mr. Williams number 2. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay, and we'll just start at the top of this page. Do you see the page number on Mr. Williams number 2, what it says on the right-hand side?
Yes.
What, just to announce it, just so we know that we're looking at the same thing.
Number 2.
On the screen.
Oh, yeah, it said 1603.
Okay, and then do you see the very top, it says author, do you see that what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, and who is _all_hundreds.rel, if you remember?
Yes.
Who is that?
A guy from the neighborhood named Real.
Name what?
Real.
Red?
Real.
Real, okay, Real, R-E-L.
Yeah.
Okay, and then what was the date this was sent? You see the next line?
So the third, March 2nd, 2021.
Okay, could you, and that's fine, could it be February 3rd, 2021?
Yeah, I don't know. I was just reading left to right.
Okay, okay, now, and the next line, it says body, you see that?
Yes.
And what is body, if you know, in this type of chat? Okay,
Thing like subject or something.
okay, and what does it say?
I like fitting.
Do you know what the rectangles are next to it by any chance signify?
No.
That's okay. And then the next author, 120 with 2 Y's, you see that?
Yes.
And then that's sent the same date,
Yes.
2/3/21?
Yes.
And then it says Floyd got him beat. You ever see that?
Yes.
Do you know what that's referring to?
Yes.
Tell the ladies and gentlemen, jury.
I think
Floyd Mayweather?
50,
Floyd Mayweather?
50 Cent and Floyd Mayweather was talking about fighting or something.
One more time.
I think entertainers, 50 Cent and Floyd Mayweather were talking about fighting.
Okay. And Floyd Mayweather is what is he?
A boss.
All right. Next one is again, plenty. You see that with the 2 Y's?
Yeah.
And you see the date again, the same date?
Yes.
And then the body, you don't have to use the curse word or the N word, but you see where it says this S, mom, kids. So I hope N ain't going outside and talking. I can't speak for the other chat because I'm not on it. I'm glad you good slap. You see that?
Yeah.
And you know what that's about.
I don't know.
Who are mom's kids?
Huh?
Who are mom's kids?
That's the name of the group chat.
Okay. The next one is, you see where it says young ZU?
Yes.
Okay, you know who that is?
Yes.
Who's that?
Another guy from the neighborhood.
Okay, you see the same date?
Yes.
And then young sent an attachment. You know what that means?
That you sent attachment?
Yeah. Tell ladies and gentlemen jury what that means.
And then someone sent a picture.
Okay. Then the next one is, again, young ZU. You see the same date?
Yes.
And then will you do this is what's written, right?
Yes.
And then the next author is you, correct? Underscore one slug?
Yes.
And it's the same date?
Yes.
And you see what you wrote?
Yes.
And tell the ladies and gentlemen, jury, what you wrote and what you were talking about, if you remember.
Let's say posted. Let me check. You seen this? I don't really don't know something.
Okay, he's got a person?
Yes.
Okay, and you wrote that, say he saw it in the other chat, he's seen it in himself, right? You're talking about seeing some picture or item?
Yeah.
All right, the next one is from Gutta, one underscore, you see that?
Yes.
And he's responding to you, is that fair to say?
Yes.
And what did he say?
So somebody told him I only sent the video in the other chat.
Okay, do you remember what video he's talking about?
No, I think they talking about. I ain't sure though, but I think they talking about somebody slept with somebody's girlfriend. I don't know. I think that's what it was going though.
Okay, the next one is, the author is Booley, double Y1, you see that?
Yeah.
Now on the next day, you see that 2421?
Yes.
Okay, and then you see what it says, date created, it says unknown?
Yeah.
And above that says body, Instagram user sent an attachment?
Yeah.
Tell the ladies and gentlemen, jury, is it the same attachment you just said, like a picture?
Yeah.
Okay, and then it says underneath that, you see where it says under text, T-E-X-T, you see what I'm talking about?
Yes.
And it says yo at Little Uzi Vert, you see that?
Yeah.
Do you know who Little Uzi Vert is?
Yes.
Tell the ladies and gentlemen, jury.
Entertainer, rap artist.
Okay.
This is like my
And,
favorite
you
part
see the
of
next
this
one,
trial.
URL, which is an Instagram?
Yes.
Okay. The next one is author 4KT, you see that?
Yes.
And you see it's the same date of February 4th, 2021?
Yes.
And what did he write?
This real?
Okay, I want you to think about it. Do you know what he's referring to?
Yeah.
Tell the ladies and gentlemen, jury, what Forte is talking about.
He sent he was talking about an image of the Lil Uzi Vert. He had implanted a diamond in his forehead, and he was asking, did anyone know if it was real or not?
The next one, again, is Forte, you see that?
Yeah.
And it's the same date of February 4th, 2021, you see that, sir?
Yes.
And in the body, that N, Uzi Crazy, and then the rectangles.
Yeah.
F it, I guess, when it's up, it's up. You see something like that?
Yeah.
All right. The next one is, again, under underscore all hundreds, rel. Dated the same date, that boy, take a punch in the head, it's over. You see that?
Yes.
And what, if you remember, is that referring to?
The diamond implanted in his forehead.
And whose forehead?
Uzi Vert.
Okay, and the next one again is for KT, you see that?
Yes.
And the next one is same date, is all hundreds, you see that?
Yes.
And then you see what it says in the body?
Yes.
What does it say?
The proofs and attachment.
Okay, is that the same thing, a picture or a video?
Yeah.
All right, on the next page, you see on the upper right corner what page number that is?
Yeah.
You see where it says, what page number is that, sir?
1604.
Okay, and then you see under the text,
Yes.
and what does it say?
It's a competition now. Tory Lanez just got a 87 billion piece put onto his forehead now.
And who is Tory Lanez?
Not a rap artist.
And what is your group referring to in this?
That he supposed to put a diamond in his forehead, implant in his forehead.
Mr. Steele, can I ask you to pause for a second? Sure. Ladies and gentlemen, how about a break? Okay, all right. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna take a break. Plan on coming back a little right before 4 o'clock, and then I'll let you know what.
Guys, like, this is insane, and I really wonder if this chat conversation, if we're going to drill into this farther with Michael Sprinkle, like, did he go through these? Did he use this as, a cue for the charges that they ended up bringing forward? I do not think this is we're going to look at some more. Steele's not done. But reading this, talking about Floyd beating somebody, well, I think if you guys have never seen this part of the YSL trial before, I would bet that there were still some of you in this chat here watching this with us today, that this might be the first time you're seeing this. And you could see that phrase on the screen talking about Floyd, and you could have guessed that maybe they were talking about Floyd Mayweather. But somehow, the head of the unindicted homicide department, Fulton County, this current prosecutor, Adrian Love, they don't see anything innocent, normal, casual about this conversation. They see somebody named Floyd's going to beat somebody up in furtherance of the gang. They see someone having something on their head. It doesn't matter when Woody had a music video called Homicide and put money on someone's head artistically. But in this group chat, when someone says, there's a 24 karat diamond or whatever, or $24,000 diamond, I don't even know, whatever the specifics were. They're taking on his head, even though they could have Googled the artist, social media the artist, and seen that what is it, like a surface piercing? A dermal piercing? I don't really know the technical term. But Lil Uzi Vert literally just had it embedded in his skin, on his head. They didn't research that. They didn't look at that. They just interpreted it as some gang activity, bounty, to get somebody gone. Like, this is this case, guys. This is this case. And this is why we're rewatching this. This is why we are rewatching this. Yeah, they're just out of touch. Like, it's insane. And I don't even think you have to follow like boxing or anything to kind of know the name Floyd and maybe think of Floyd Mayweather when you see it used with the context beat. It's going to beat him. People that don't even watch boxing could make that inference. But to the state, to Fulton County, it wasn't even a possibility because they were so tunnel visioned into something else. Like, just a mess. Just a mess. Oh my gosh. So they're going to take a comfort break. What do we see? I think they... Okay, so they go through the rest of the day. I think what we'll do is we will get through this. It's about an hour. Let's finish this exhibit. Do they come back and look at this exhibit? Okay, I guess they come back and they're not looking at the chat convo. Let's see if there's any important questioning after the sidebar that they're at. Otherwise, I think we will start to wind this down, wrap it up. There will be a little bit more from Brian Steele. Let's see, they're at a sidebar. While they're doing that. And also, this would be a good time if you guys know anyone else that's doing YSL stuff tonight. Let the chat know so they can find somewhere else to go hang out. I will be starting at 12 noon tomorrow for the trial. We'll skip the breaks. We'll get caught up. The other 2 times that we've done that, we caught up before trial ended. So, yeah, starting at noon, though, tomorrow. Eastern time. This is the end of day 15 that's on the screen right now. Day 16 ended up being canceled. Like, they got to court, but then a lawyer was sick, so they called it off. Day 17, I think, was a half day. Yeah, day 17, including breaks and the Law and Crime, the ending feed they leave the stream on, was like 3 hours total. So 17 was a half day, and that's when Steele finishes cross. I think 18 was short. Yeah, day 18 was a 2-hour day. And then day 19 is the one that we really want to get to. That's where we'll see the other defense attorneys cross-examine. So we've probably got, if we watch on extra speed and skip the breaks, if we do a part 3, we'll do a part 3. We'll do a part 3 and we'll get the last hour and a half. We'll skip some stuff with Brian Steele. We kind of have to because some of it's going to play music that will get the stream shut off. Like, the record label will be like, yoink, that's mine. But then we'll get to Carrington Matthews. We'll get to Max Shart. I think Doug Weinstein does some questioning. So we'll put that in a part 3 on this, you guys. But we will finish out this. I forgot about this. Maybe he's not allowed to ask anymore, whatever he wanted to ask next. But let's get to a clean topic switch. And we'll phase this stream out. If you guys have anyone that you see streaming you think would be fun to check out tonight, put it in the chat. We'll figure it out.
You let Ingram know that we're about ready.
And thank you, FFS. The name change is hilarious. Now you're going to get tagged anytime someone says FFS to vent. But can we pause and all give a thank you? Kat is on here with us on Labor Day. Honestly, Kat, thank you. Saying that from my dark, cold heart. No, you're really nice. You don't have a cold heart. Unless you don't want me to tell you that. So, you know, kattnotwilliams in chat, you know, our RICO gang chat. Thank you so much. It's really sweet of you. And I said earlier at the beginning of the stream, I worked all morning and this is kind of like the fun part of my day. So I don't really look at this as work. So thank you guys for being here because you are why it doesn't feel like work. It's a lot of fun.
All right, can we have Mr. Stephens rejoin us, please? All right, ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. All right, thank you, Sergeant Ingram. All right, ladies and gentlemen, just to give you kind of a little planning, we're going to go for probably a little less than an hour or thereabouts, and we're going to recess for today and then I'll tell you what we're going to do tomorrow. Okay? All right, Mr. Steele, whenever you're ready, whenever you get your AV set up, you may begin. Okay?
Yes, sir. And
All
Your
right.
Honor, with the court's permission, can Mr. Kokomo approach Mr. Stephens and show him?
Well, hold on. Is this just an actual clean break? They're not doing any more of these chat conversations? This might be a good place to end it then. I thought maybe we would start back with a closing question on that, the poster board, if you will. So I did see that as far as people streaming that are coming up on my For You feed, Inside the Law is doing a stream on the Fulton County Jail, the guard walkout. It looks like he has Rachel Kaufman on, and I don't know the other guest, but he has another guest on there. So that is one, if you want to look at some stuff about Fulton County. That is currently live. I also see Dolly Talk is live doing, and this is probably where I'm going to go hang out because these jail calls have been making me laugh. Wade Wilson, he is convicted and he's sentenced to death. Florida man. His jail calls, prison calls, he's got a bunch of boos that he just keeps playing like a salesman, adopting their personalities, and they call him relentlessly. And every time they call, he's just like, are you walking to put money on my books right now? So if you want to check out those jail calls, those prison calls, they've been very interesting. So this here will be for Wade Wilson. There we go. And then anyone else, does anyone else see anybody live doing something tonight? Again, I will be streaming day 121, Redirect of Woody, starting at noon Eastern tomorrow. So right when the court probably takes their lunch break, that's when I'll start my stream and we'll get caught up. And yeah, I just don't see, probably because of the holiday, I just don't see too many people live right now like there normally would be. So those are the two options I found for people that are currently live. I'm probably going to go, shout out to Inside the Law, I love his interviews, but I'm going to go hang out and watch the Wade Wilson jail calls. So we'll wrap it up here. We will do the last hour, and there's another hour combined on the next 2 days that aren't really full days at all of Steele closing up, and then we'll get to the other attorneys. Carrington Matthews lays it down, Shart lays it down. Doug Weinstein actually had some good questions too. So, heck yeah. Steph, they really are. The calls are insane. I can't help but go and watch them. So I'm going to go cook some dinner, you guys. We will finish off YSL Slug, formerly known as Slug, Trontavious Stephens, in part 3 sometime this week, maybe Thursday evening after court ends. You guys all have a great rest of your Monday or Tuesday. I think Aussie Tank, if you're still here, it's Tuesday for you. And see you guys all tomorrow around noon or in Dolly's chat. Take care, and guess what, guys? We could end with the song. This is the Taylor Swift RICO song. I told it to make a pop song about RICO. So here we go. Take care, everybody.
True crime junkies all around, buffering prosecutors found. Chat grand jury makes a sound. Is this justice for real? Word salad in every feed. Syllable soup do we need? Jump to conclusions like a steed. Is this justice for real? Is this justice for real? In a world so surreal, can you feel what's true and ideal? Is this justice for real? Screens flashing with debate. Every tagline holds our fate. Truth or fiction, we all wait. Is this justice for real? Opinions flying high and low. Everybody thinks they know, but does the truth really show? Is this justice for real? Is this justice for real? In a world so surreal, can you feel what's true and ideal? Is this justice for real? Opinions flying high and low. Everybody thinks they know, but does the truth really show? Is this justice for real? Is this justice for real? In a world so surreal, can you feel what's true and ideal? Is this justice for real?
Okay, and just for good measure, you guys, and then I'm going to Dolly.
As in Alicia, and B, Your Honor, as in Barry. C as in Colette.
G as in Goldfetter, K as in kittens, M as in magic, P as in perfect, C as in Colette, U as in unbelievable, V as in victory, W as in wonderful.
O for objection, S for sustain, E for buffering, E for Pepto-Bane. S for slime, my friend, and you as in what you mean. I as in I don't recall, M as in may I sleep. All the ABCs of steel makes me feel so real. Yeah, they keep on spinning round, never gonna let me down. G for gavel slams down P, T for tell 'em anything, R for rights we stand, I for infinity. Life's a courtroom dance, keep your stances strong. With ABCs of steel, you can never go wrong. Oh, the ABCs of steel makes me feel so real. Yeah, they keep on spinning round, never gonna let me down. Oh, the ABCs of steel makes me feel so real. Yeah, they keep on spinning round, never gonna let me down. Oh, the ABCs of steel makes me feel so real.